taking a minute to kick in. We're streaming, apparently. We're live on the internet for everyone who's internet.
Forget about your worries or your
It's
strife.
the Oscar special.
It is the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities.
Forget about the necessities of life.
Because when you eat a baba or a prickly pear, then you're gonna da off the prickly pear.
The bare necessities of life will come to you.
We fucked it up. They'll come to you. We fucked it up. They'll come to
I
you.
don't know the words.
Bare necessities, forget about the necessities of life.
All right, you can hear us.
All right.
Unfortunately,
Unfortunately for you, Steve. Jordan, did you drop a like on that live video, Jordan?
I did as of now.
Good. Let's turn down my volume so we don't get repeating. Let's do that. Oh shoot, we need the timer. Set the timer up. Setting the timer up. That's
Setting the time.
It's not the timer. We have to stopwatch. Then we my phone.
This is the YouTube preamble.
Okay. Okay. Oops. That's not it. That's not it. Okay. Warbling. Peter Piper packed a pickle. Oh, the light over there is not on. Well, it'll be fine. Anyway, 3, 2, 1. This podcast is brought to you by the Arte Media Pantheon. Please head to artemedia.org to see all sorts of podcasts from our great friends. And if you would like to start your own podcast, they can provide you with the tools and resources to do so there. So please head to artemedia.org. That's ARETE media.org. On with the show, Jordan?
On with the show, Baldy.
Hey, Baldy. For those who are listening on Spotify, we're both bald. I wasn't going to draw attention to it, but Jordan he's just decided to.
Of course I have. I look amazing.
He just decided.
I have to draw attention to how amazing I look. I no longer look like a fucking caveman.
No longer. I mean, I'm still looking kinda.
Much like the proverbial bear who sheds his coat for the spring, I have shed my winter coat and have now decided that it's spring.
It's not spring. Welcome to the Spurr podcast, everybody. Welcome to the season 3 finale. This is our final show, and then we're gonna be gone for 2 weeks. And some of that time, we're gonna be on a beach in an undisclosed location that you can't find. We will not tell you.
It's in Mexico.
No. We weren't telling them. We weren't telling them.
That's all they need to know. It's in Mexico.
We're not telling you.
We're going south for the spring.
For the spring, yeah. So on today's show, I'm Justin Spurr. I'm joined by my co-host. This is chaotic already. The incomparable Jordan, everybody. He's here.
I am incomparable, and I am here.
He's here. Attendance is mandatory for him. On today's show, we are going to talk about there's some supernatural boys coming to the boys. Did Kathleen Kennedy retire? Apparently she might have retired, making a whole segment of the internet real happy. They're making a Beekeeper 2. Shrek 5 is apparently happening. A Hunger Games stage show. What the Gambit movie was going to be about, and just a bunch of news stories. And then later on in the show, it's the Oscars. Today's the Oscars, and we are, of course, doing an obligatory Oscar special. So we will be talking about 4 of the many. You picked 2, right?
I picked 2 that we're getting this year, and then the rest were all previous years.
Hey, can you do me a solid and just turn down your gain just like a little bit?
I mean, you gotta stop turning it up every time you steal my mic.
Because you're very loud in my ear.
There.
Or maybe my volume is just really high. Oh, my volume is also really high. There we go. That's better. Where was I? Oh, yes, the intro. Sorry, that was distracting. Oscars. We're doing the Oscar special. Four of the ones that got nominated this year. We're gonna talk about, and we're gonna talk about old ones that also got nominated. That we were like, really. Turns out the list for the Oscars is very long when you include all the bullshit technical awards that they could possibly win.
Very long with a lot of options.
Right. Let's start with, okay. So I saw this pop up, and I assumed it wasn't true. But it was that Kathleen Kennedy, the bane of a certain segment of the internet, was about to finally retire, from Lucasfilm.
Okay, so, oh, she's the leader of Lucas. Okay.
Yeah,
I was gonna say.
She's the.
I was gonna say I recognize the name, but I can't picture the actress.
No, she's not an actress. She's the.
Yeah, no. Now I know who she is.
She's the bitch. Sorry, I'm sorry. Let me try that again. She's the bitch. What ruined Star Wars?
The bitch what ruined Star Wars.
Yeah, there you go. Interesting. So according to Kathleen Kennedy, says her retirement from Lucasfilms is not happening anytime soon. She says she will never retire from making movies. She will die making movies. But it looks like they're looking for a successor for her to take over for her one day, but not anytime soon by the looks of it.
So what I'm hearing is this news is non-news because it means nothing is really going to happen for like 20 years.
It's just her clarifying. I guess.
I'm doing nothing and going nowhere.
You know how the internet keeps saying I'm retiring? Not true.
Fuck off.
Moving on now. That's basically what that was. It wasn't really much of anything. I thought it was gonna turn out that she was retiring, and this would be an interesting story, and we could be like, I wonder what that means for Star Wars going forward. But seems like it's probably gonna be more of the same.
More of the same, at best, mediocre shows.
So okay. So that remember how we keep talking about that Clayface movie?
Yep.
I think it was revealed, that it was the kind of Clayface that we like, and the casting. There's been casting rumors, and one of the casting rumors that popped up this week was that Daniel Radcliffe might play the lead.
So he'll play. Wait. So he'll play Clayface?
Yeah, he'll be Clayface.
Okay, that I'm down for
Right?
immediately.
Right? I'm just immediately into that.
Immediately, if he's the kind of one that we like, where he's as the actor and he's that immediately.
It kind of sounds like they're going for a body horror, like The Substance, like Fly, what they can probably muster in a PG-13 rating.
I think Daniel Radcliffe is a very talented actor, and I've never really seen anything that he's been in that I didn't enjoy on some level.
Right.
So fuck it, I'm down.
I am
You've
absolutely
got me.
down. And so James Gunn addressed the rumors, and they say it's just a rumor, but a credible one.
Dope. Like I said, I'm down. I'm down. I would watch that. I would watch that. It's one of those rare instances where I could say I would watch that just for the actor.
Right? I would totally watch that just for the actor. Okay, so we've talked about this movie a bunch of times, but the final trailer for the Minecraft movie came out, and I thought we'd play a fun game of have you changed your opinion? Would you watch this in theaters now?
I only watched the trailer once, but I mean, honestly, probably for the content.
Yeah, fair.
Like
fair.
we will probably do it for the content. So on that regard, I somewhat feel resigned to it either way.
Yeah, no, fair enough.
Quite honestly, right from the get-go, it's never been that I don't think that the movie looks fun. It looks fine for what it is. It screams movie to or game to movie adaptation. It just doesn't. It doesn't necessarily mean that I think it's going to be the greatest film ever. It looks fine. My thing has always been, and this is kind of just a thing with all kids movies now. It has nothing to do with the movie that makes me not want to go watch it.
Yeah, no, fair enough.
It's the theater going experience that I know that I'll have that it will taint if the movie would have been like an 8.
Yeah.
it will taint the experience and it will become a 6.
My thing with all of the marketing
And
for
I
this
and I
movie.
and I know Minecraft is popular with young kids. This will be full of them.
Oh, for sure.
Like there's no way that it won't be.
My my
So
my thing
I don't
watching
I don't want to watch it in theaters because of that.
my confusion with this movie is they've never explained like what the relationship is between the four people who are coming to the Minecraft world and why they know each other. Like it's like there's the Jason Momoa, the black chick, and the kid, the one kid, and they never really
There's two
established
kids. There's the
kids,
girl.
right?
There's the girl and the guy.
Like they never establish what their relationship is or how they get. All of the marketing is them already in the Minecraft world. I will say this trailer did contain some stuff that was kind of interesting, which is the again I always love the video game or the thing comes to the real world. Like that's always fun for me. So I
Yeah,
thought that was
that
kind of
was
fun.
that was interesting. That makes me believe that in the third act there will be like the piglins are starting to invade the real world or
Probably.
something kind of thing.
Well, I saw a theory that the bad guy that they show in that trailer is a misdirect, and that there's going to be a third act twist that Steve is actually the bad guy.
I could see it being a thing where it's like it's not necessarily that he's the bad guy, but he's the antagonist.
Yeah, yeah, where he's like,
I
oh,
could
I think
see,
the Minecraft world is perfect, and you guys should stay here.
yeah, or something like that. Like
Yeah,
that, I could see that.
like he's
Whereas,
been
like
all alone there for
he's
like.
not in, he's not exactly a villain necessarily, but like, yeah, antagonist,
I could see them
sure,
doing a thing where it's like he's been there alone for so long, he's gone insane.
yeah, yeah, I
Like,
could absolutely
like,
see that.
like he started off a good guy, but he became a bad guy kind of thing. Yeah, I could see that happening.
Or
I
like
don't know.
or like at a certain point he ends up back in the real world and he's like the real world would be great if things from Minecraft were like if things from that world were here and then
Yeah,
he's the one that's bleeding the worlds together.
I could see that. Yeah, where he's like, yeah, if we bring Minecraft stuff here, then yeah, I could see that.
I
Um,
could see that.
my thing is like as someone who's only passively familiar with that franchise, I'm just like the stuff looks like the thing. Hey, that looks like a creeper.
Oh, yeah, I mean the thing like that's where I say there's plenty of thing I recognize in this. I saw villagers, I saw illagers, they got the pig people. Like there's plenty of the thing about Minecraft is it doesn't have a big. I mean, it has a growing lore because of games like the Dungeon Crawler one, which is like the prequel to the Minecraft overworld. Like there is lore, but like it's not the point of Minecraft.
Yeah, fair
At
enough.
least to me, it's not to real Minecraft. Like ignoring like Minecraft story mode and stuff like that, where they've retroactively made it the point for me when you're playing like the actual Minecraft game, the point isn't really about the deep lore of the world. It's just you surviving and building things.
Right?
So like in that regard, yeah, this movie has a lot of stuff from the game that looks familiar. It looks fine. I don't know. It's just it's very I don't know how to put it into words. It's very corporate, I
Yeah.
guess is how I would word it.
Yeah, it's gotta have
Um
all the things. Oh, it's got the creeper, check that off. It's got the villager, check that off. It's got it just feels like a checklist.
Yeah, pretty much. And that would be my big thing. And in that regard, it does remind me of like classic old school video game movies where it's like they've got a checkbox of things that they got to hit and otherwise it has nothing to do with the original content.
Yeah,
That's what it makes me think of.
yeah,
Where it's like it's got all the check boxes of things that it's got to have. It's got to have the villager, it's got to have the illager, it's got to have the piglin people, it's got to have the creeper, the sheep, the like it's got the checklist of things. And other than that, it has nothing to do with Minecraft.
sure seems that way. Yeah, yeah. It's very disconcerting that none of it shows the people actually getting to the Minecraft world, and all of the Minecraft world scenes seem to be like one or two scenes. It concerns me like the first 15 to 20 minutes of this movie is non-Minecraft.
Probably it's probably got to be setting up your characters who we know nothing about
Or otherwise,
because because Minecraft. I mean, Minecraft. You play as Steve. That's the guy you play as. That's the main guy. He's really the only character that there's any knowledge about or care for. So yeah, if you're making a movie of Minecraft and Steve is not the main character and you're bringing in 4 additional characters, there has to be an additional allotment of time to set up a reason why we should care about these characters. This movie, you know what this movie makes me think of now thinking about it? This movie screams Jumanji to me.
yeah, I can see why you would say that.
Like it just
I think
screams
I think
Jumanji.
it's I could be wrong, but I think it's directed by the same people or made by the same people.
I could believe that. It's just,
Um,
yeah, this movie screams. That, I guess that would be my overarching note, is this movie feels like if you took the plot of Jumanji and just put Minecraft on top of it.
Jordan, they're making a Beekeeper 2.
Okay, that's cool. I don't remember how it ends, but
Was it good enough that you think it warrants a sequel, or is it just that movie is really cheap and easy to make?
I mean, I would say it's probably just cheap and easy to make,
That
but
makes sense.
I don't know. It's a Jason Statham movie. It's pretty much exactly what you think it is.
Yeah,
So,
fair enough.
do you think that would be expensive to make?
No, they never are. That's why his movies have a billion sequels.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay. Apparently, Jordan, they're making a Hunger Games stage play that's going to premiere in London. London always has these weird ideas for plays that like always
I mean,
wind up in London.
they had a Harry Potter one. How hard could that be?
Yeah, this one seems like it's just straight up just adapting the first book though. That's not a sequel to the Hunger Games or an alternate.
No, I was more talking from a technical aspect.
I guess I don't really know. I mean,
Like the Harry Potter one had like literal owls and stuff. I'm just saying how difficult could this be to make into one?
I mean, a bit. There's a bit more action involved in it. I don't know how you would you stage. There's quite a bit of combat. I mean, a great deal of it is characters standing around talking about the Hunger Games. So like, I don't not see how it works, but that's an
I don't know.
interesting
Yeah,
direction to take this. That's for sure.
I mean, to me, it's like if you did. I don't know if this actually exists, but I know it was in Bob's Burgers, where you could take Alien and turn it into one, and it works just fine.
True. True.
Again, I don't know. I don't know if that was ever done in like the real world, but clearly, conceptually, it could work because Bob's Burgers did it.
True. True. Huh. So okay, the release window for your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man 2, which by the way, really good. We're gonna do a specific episode where we'll talk about it in detail, but that show's really good.
The show they're gonna make a season 2.
They're making a season 2, and it might come out by 2026. Because usually,
Cool.
animation between seasons 1 and 2 always takes a bit longer. So they're saying 2026, but he thinks the guy who creates it is insistent it'll come out next year. So who knows? But that show is really
I mean,
good.
I'm down. I really like that show. I thought it was a lot of fun.
Also like that show, so I am all the way down.
But I mean, to be fair, I really like Spider-Man stuff, so I'm a pretty easy sell.
Yeah, fair enough. We've got so much news that's just like a few sentences today. Gambit. They remember how they were.
Hey, you want to talk about that Gambit, eh? The Gambit who was the guy who throws cars, that guy, eh? No?
Apparently they were gonna make a
That's my Gambit impression.
Apparently they were gonna make a Gambit. Well, they were gonna make a Gambit movie. Gambit makes jokes about it in the Deadpool movie. And apparently
Yes.
they've released. Come on.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yes.
This article is really frustrating. It's like
You can't tease us like that. Come on.
it just keeps going. It's taking forever for them to actually say what. She just quotes being like, "It was a really cool idea. It was kind of odd that it got scrapped." And I'm like, "What's the idea?" Like the actor revealed that they would have broken on. Oh, okay. Here we go. It would have been a romantic comedy, apparently, which is dumb and bad, and that sounds bad. They wanted it to be kind of like a 30 screwball romantic comedy set in that world.
A romantic who would I mean, just for shits and giggles, who would have been the love interest with Gambit?
I guess Rogue.
Would it have been Rogue?
Probably
would they have the
Rogue.
rights to do Rogue?
Yes, because they're Fox and they own the X-Men at that point.
Oh, true.
Yes.
True.
They might have got
So
end up happening.
okay. Let's play this out. Would it have been more like the movie version of Rogue, where she looks like boring, or would they have gone like the frizzy hair? She's got the full jumpsuit, like
I'm hoping the frizzy
like
hair
the '90s,
jumpsuit.
the '90s cartoon version, because that would be awesome.
I would go '90s cartoon version. Just because.
I don't really know how you do an entire movie of that, but
Me neither.
clearly they didn't either because it never got made.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and then eventually he became the different actor when he showed up in Wolverine. They recast him.
He was in Wolverine.
Yeah,
Why don't I remember?
Wolverine
Why don't I
Origins.
remember that?
Because that movie was bad and we've locked it out.
That is very true. That
Um,
is very, very true.
let's see here. What's next? Oh yeah. Tragically, Jordan, they canceled that Wonder Woman game that was going to use the Nemesis system once again.
I heard that.
Fading
I
that
heard
Nemesis.
Yeah, I heard they shut down that company that made them, which is like made the Shadow of Mordor games, which is means that their Nemesis system is locked and buried under patents till like 2046
Yep.
or something like that.
Yep.
Um, which is so stupid.
Right.
Warner Brothers just seems like the fucking worst. Between them just locking away full made movies that will never get released, and now video game systems that need to be in more things, like they're
Right.
the worst.
They are kind of the
We
worst.
need to they need to be boycotted. They need to be losing millions of dollars from the shit they pull. People need to stop supporting them.
I mean, they already lose millions of dollars from the shit they pull, but yeah, I get your point.
They need to lose more money, is what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
they're not losing enough money apparently to learn the lesson. It's like that meme
No.
from SpongeBob. How many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it should feel like for
It's
them.
like, yeah, this should be. And then there was talk they're making a new Batman game. It's like, okay, slap it on Batman. Like, but that system is ideally suited for a superhero game. Why is it not being put in a superhero game?
Or a Flash one or a Superman one. I don't care. Just use the system.
Right?
You have it. You have it. You have the access and the rights to use it. I don't care where you use it. Just use it.
Just use it, man.
Use it. Continue to build on it. Make it better. Don't just let it sit in the back corner of some office and like it's just that's where I get frustrated.
Right? Huh. So apparently they said that Spider-Man not going to be in that Daredevil show. Because apparently how the rights work is they're allowed to use them for 30 minutes short form television, but they're not allowed to use them so they're allowed to use them for animated stuff, but they're not allowed to use them for the live action stuff unless it's movies, which is really stupid.
Okay. So then the Nick Cage one I guess was made by Sony.
Yeah, Amazon, Sony, yeah.
Okay, because I was gonna say, aren't they already doing that? But then I was like, okay, yeah, okay, yeah. I mean, it makes sense though, to a degree.
Yeah, it's I'm not sure what the rules are, but I think Sony have long form television rights. I don't know if that means you can show up. You can do like 30-minute animation. You can do like 30-minute animation, I think, which is like why they've made animated shows and they haven't done anything with them in live action. That makes sense.
What would be funny is if or what they could do if they wanted to skirt and Marvel, Disney, whatever, feel free to take this idea. But what they could do is they could have it be where the scene where Spider-Man shows up is a fight scene, which we only see from Daredevil's first-person perspective. So whatever, like what he sees as Spider-Man is just an animated version. And that's all you see is like from Daredevil's eyes, and he sees an animated Spider-Man, and we never actually see him in live action.
All right, I think that's a perfect compromise. I'm into it.
Like I feel like that would be a real like technicality, but
right?
if they can do 30-minute animated,
right?
Then it feels like you could use that to get it to skirt the rules.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Jordan, they're making a Barney movie.
Another one?
Yeah, a new one. It's gonna be an A24 movie, and it's gonna be written.
Adults over 24?
No, it's that company that makes really serious dramas. That's what they're known for. They're known for making serious dramas.
Never heard of them.
And yeah, it's gonna be also made by Daniel Kaluuya's 59% Productions, and they're gonna make a live action Barney movie.
Oh, okay, so I was gonna say, so it's live act. Okay, that's weird. That's a weird choice. Is he like a? So, I'm having a hard time wrapping my brain around this. Is this meant to be like a one of those Dora the Explorers where like they took a kid thing and made it like more grown up, or is it like a live action thing for kids where he's still gonna look big and goofy?
I
I
don't
guess what
know.
I'm asking is he gonna look like a normal dinosaur, but he's purple,
No, I imagine he
or
will look like
or
Barney.
or is he gonna look like Barney? And like, is it like Barney is coming back to a kid as an adult, and they have to go on some gritty adventure where he helps save Barney, or like is it a kids movie?
I don't. It sounded like it was gonna be not quite such an extreme version of that, but yeah, something of that. Like he wanted to do something a bit more adult for adults. So it kind of sounded like the idea that maybe they were initially going for anyway was, yeah, Barney comes back to an adult, which is what I would want.
Because what would be really funny then is if okay, and stay with me on this. You have a scene where our hero, whoever they are, is sleeping, and then looks out there like their window or whatever, and sees this gigantic purple dinosaur, like a fully realistic, normal looking dinosaur, who then with a goofy voice is like, "Daryl, you have to help me save da 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 da," and it sounds like Barney. And then he has to be like, "I'm Barney. I'm a dinosaur from your imagination." Then he looks down at himself and he's like, "Granted, your imagination used to be a lot softer and rounder, but it's still me."
That's funny. That would be funny. I mean, yeah, I want the he's a fictional character and yeah, he comes to the real world and it like has to. It's a metaphor for like letting go of childhood and you do that kind of story because that to me that's what you do with beloved iconic childhood character. And then you also do like maybe some sort of meta commentary on how people went ape shit and treated Barney like shit.
I mean, I like my version.
I think that would be interesting though. But I'm like,
I
all right.
I think my joke writes itself.
Like an A24 Barney movie. All right, go for it. Very odd.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, we'll have to keep our eye on that one because that sounds weird.
we will be watching you with great interest. Jordan, they announced, or the boys announced this that the boys are back, and they announced it in a big.
I saw that.
A big
I saw that.
supernatural related promo that they announced that both Jared Padalecki and Misha Collins are going to be on the season 5 of The Boys, further confirming the fact that The Boys exist in the supernatural multiverse.
I mean, if it wasn't confirmed before, it kind of has to be now.
I think they should do it. Like, the show is already different from the comics. You only have to do it, like, once. Literally have it be... Especially because it was odd to me that the promo featured stuff from Supernatural. I was like, that's a little odd. I think legit. I think Soldier Boy, the new character that Misha plays, and the new character that Jared plays, should be variants of their characters from Supernatural. And it should turn out...
I
that
think you could easily have... I think you could easily have like a one-off scene which like acknowledges it at the very least. Like one of the characters gets into the Black Impala or something.
I mean, yes, but I think the full bore they should be like the boys is in the supernatural multiverse. He's one of the universes.
I mean, if they can, if they are able to legally do that, absolutely they should.
I mean, technically, it's made by Eric Kripke, the guy who created Supernatural. So if anyone had, I would imagine he could.
Yeah, then yeah, they should.
Because yeah, my thing has been Bobby Singer is a character on that show. He's played by Jim Beaver. He's like the president or something. And it's the same name, Bobby Singer, as his character on Supernatural. So it's my headcanon that The Boys is one of the universes that Chuck created.
I mean, yeah, probably. I could believe it. That sounds believable enough. Like he got bored with the hunting demons and stuff and wanted a superhero variant.
He just made them superheroes. Yeah, I think that's funny.
And the way that superheroes work in that world is absolutely a cynical version that I could see Chuck making.
Right.
Like it absolutely fits into that character.
Right, that he would write a universe where all superheroes are shitty to be subversive because he thinks he's this hot shot writer. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It feels like a thing he'd write. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, it does. So yeah, I mean, I think you could. There's a lot of funny ways that you could do it. You could like if the creator is okay with it, and you could get the actors to come back and do it, which 3 of them are already on the show. You can.
Four of them exist in that universe. Bobby, the
Okay.
guy who plays Jack, is on
The
the
three, yeah,
spinoff.
the three main ones though. But anyways, they're the one of the ways you could do it is if you could get the guy who plays God to come back, is you could have it where it pulls out and he's literally typing on a typewriter, and then you have it be in one of the earlier seasons or whatever where he still likes like where Dean and them and all of them are still friends or whatever, and you could have Dean, Sam, and Cass or somebody lean over his shoulder and be like, "Seriously, dude, like
Well,
that's crap."
I mean, like I said, the guy who played. Without, I guess. Wait, did you ever finish Supernatural yet?
No, Supernatural. I I think so.
Do you know what
I
happens with Jack?
I I don't actually remember. I think from what I remember with Jack, doesn't he dies. He dies and then he comes back
Yep.
and then doesn't he sacrifices himself in a
He
big way. That I remember. I know I've seen it because I remember the final scene of the show is like them all like all the cast and stuff standing around the Impala as the thing cuts like goes out, zooms out,
yeah.
and they're all like clapping and cheering. So I know I have finished
No,
it, but
nobody
I,
nobody likes the end of that show. No, it ends with them physically assaulting God and beating the shit out of him. And that episode came out during COVID, and it felt really gratifying to see God get the shit kicked out of him.
right,
Um,
and he becomes new God.
yeah,
Right, 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 right,
Jack
right,
becomes absorbs his power Highlander style and becomes new God. And so
right, right, right,
you
right.
could just as easily make it. And part of the spoiler for the for that spin-off, but the big twist at the end of the spin-off was that it wasn't the original. It wasn't a prequel. It existed in an alternate timeline, and Dean like skipped over into it. So yeah, you could just as easily have it be like, Jack created this new universe.
Yeah, yeah, you could. On a side note, Word 789 says this may be the first Oscars where I don't recognize almost any of these movies.
Fair enough. Some of them are bad. We're gonna get there. That's it for Supernatural. Final news story. We've kind of I left it to the end to make it easier for myself to edit into my eventual YouTube video. But yeah, we're gonna talk about Shrek. So Jordan, I'm gonna let you tear into this trailer in a moment because I know you want to.
You know what's funny is I'm probably going to be kinder to it than you probably expect.
I don't get it. Like, I don't get it. I've seen a lot. To be fair, I've seen an equal amount of videos of people being like me and being like, I don't get the internet's indignation. It just looks like Shrek. Like it just looks like Shrek. Like I've seen people compare this to Ugly Sonic, and I saw a video of this guy saying the exact thing I'm about to say, which is no, hell no, it's not even fucking close. Fuck off out of here with that bullshit. Like, no, he still at least vaguely looks like Shrek, if indeed you have... Like, he looks like Shrek. That looks like Donkey. That looks like Fiona. The animation is more expressive, and they've clearly gone in a direction that they want them to look a little bit aged. And that freaks people out because the last one came out, like, 10 years ago. So, like, I think. Maybe longer than that. But, like, it's been a while. So, like, yeah, animation gets upgraded. It looks like Shrek. It looks fine. And, more to the point, it is a 20-second teaser trailer for a movie that doesn't come out for like 2 years. Now you may go.
Okay, so before I go, I'm Word 789. OMG Shrek 5 and then sad face. What did they do to my boy Shrek? They gave him Disney eyes. Why they make him look weird?
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't
So
people keep saying that and I don't get it. I truly do not. Jordan, make me understand this.
I don't know that I can because for me it's hard to articulate. It's hard for me to put it into words. But and that's I'm just talking aesthetically. I'm not even going to talk about what's actually in the trailer. Which is so cringy, but okay.
To be fair
So
though, the original, and we're gonna get there, but the original is like a lot of millennial cringe. So that's just what this franchise is.
um so For me, one of the big things is that makes me go like, and yeah, it's hard for me to put it into words. It's just when I look at him, there's something in my brain which twinges. Like it's something that it's like he looks okay, but he doesn't look quite right. There's something which feels off, and I've been trying to figure it out, and I've seen a lot of people articulate different things that is what it is for them. And a big one that I've seen is the eyes. That the eyes don't look right, like the distancings, the size. I don't know exactly what it is. Something about that it twinges people. For me, a big thing is I don't know how to, he's too, and this has everything to do with the fact that the I'm going to use a video game term. The graphics look newer.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of what is twinging people is it looks too polished. It looks too nice. It looks too soft. It looks too round.
My response to that, though, would be it's never gonna look like the original Shrek, because the original
No,
Shrek is
you're
like
right.
20 fucking years old. It's never gonna look like
It
that.
won't. It won't. You're right. And there's that. It's not even just that. It's as I understand it, they lost those original models, which is part of why they've had to redo them. I don't know if that's true, but that's what I've heard. But yeah, so word 789 says he doesn't look right. It's the eyes. It looks cartoony, if that makes sense. And that's
No.
yeah, that's the best way is like it it doesn't feel like it's the same studio making it or the same team making it. It feels like yeah, that's exactly it. It's an art direction issue.
Oh, for sure, it's an art direction issue. Yeah, everybody. My thing is like, okay.
Everybody is saying that it's animation. It has nothing to do with the animation. At least again, from the 50 something seconds that we've seen, it has nothing to do with it. 27 seconds that we've seen, it has nothing to, for me anyway, it has nothing to do with animation. But there's not enough there for me to judge that, so I can't speak to that.
My thing is like, I need to see more. I need to see it in action. I need to see it in locations. Like, I need to see more of it.
Fiona in particular to me doesn't, and a lot of it has to do with the fact that they're supposed to be older. I get that. People always, whenever I've seen someone make a comment about how the models look weird, people are always jumping down their throat going like, oh yeah, they have wrinkles and they look old and you just don't like that. And it's like, no, but that's not what that's not what we're saying. That's not what I'm saying. Fiona, like, it's just face size looks different. Head size looks different. The eyes, again, that's the big one. They look different. They don't look, and I think I think what frustrates people about it is we had good modern looking correct looking versions of these characters. It was in one of the DreamWorks openings where they showed the Shrek, Donkey, and Fiona. They looked right there. And that was modern animation. It didn't look janky. Like, they looked correct there. So it has everything to do with the aesthetic that they've chosen to do for this. And it's great that you don't see it. That will make it easier for you to enjoy it. But there is a lot of people who notice it and don't like it. I'm one of them. And it's one of those things where, like I said, it's hard for me to even articulate what's wrong about it. But it's just, you know, when you look at something and you're just immediately like, there's something wrong about that.
Yeah,
that's what my brain is like. Where it's like I can't put it into exact words.
For me,
but I look at it and it doesn't look right.
For me, like Haley, before I even saw the trailer, our friend of the podcast, Haley from Party Broadway World Podcast, she tagged me in a "this looks bad" Facebook meme post, right? And like, I was like, they look the same. I don't get it. I don't understand. Like, one looks like it's older. Like, I've seen 1,000 videos of people bitching about this. They all say the same thing, and I truly don't see it. And then I see a bunch of other videos of people like me being like, this is not Ugly Sonic. Stop comparing it. I truly
Oh,
do
it's
think.
not even. It's not even the same world as Ugly Sonic. That's the thing and then that's where the compliment sandwich or whatever you want to call it. This has nothing to do with the movie itself. But this is where I will jump to the movie's defense. Just because you don't like it doesn't mean that you should be bullying a studio into changing a perfectly fine model.
Right.
I don't love the changes, but there's an entire generation of kids who won't care.
No, that's the big thing. Is fundamentally, it's not for you 30-year-old man who take not you, but the imaginary 30-year-old woman or man who takes issue with how it looks. It's for the 8-year-old who doesn't give a shit. Like that's who it's for. I don't see it. And the big thing about Ugly Sonic is, as much as I hated that Sonic design, and I hated that Sonic design, I've seen a lot of people say this, and I agree with them, that Ugly Sonic was one of the worst things to happen to the movie industry ever, because it emboldened idiots on the internet to think that every time they just don't like something, they can like will it into being. And when in reality, Ugly Sonic probably was an intentional marketing ploy.
Oh, I still believe that was 100% intentional.
It was never the final version.
There's no way that, like, with the time frame that they had at the time, there's no way that they completely redesigned that character in that time frame. Now, the Shrek team, if they completely redesigned, there is enough time that I believe that they could course correct. But no, at the time that whole thing happened, there wasn't way.
I've heard internet rumors that no, it very much did happen, and they crunched the fuck out of the animators. And
I don't believe that.
They brought in the guy from who was he did Sonic. He was the fan who ended up making Sonic Mania. I forget his name, but he's like a big deal in the Sonic fandom. But he's the one who designed the new design. But like, I never believed that. If I could maybe believe that he did, but that was never the final design. Like, they always had other designs in backup in case the movie. Unless, hey, Sega, prove me wrong. We all want the Ugly Sonic cut. We all want it. We all want to see the ugly Sonic cut.
Word 789 says, BTW unrelated. The teaser got a lot of dislikes over likes. Seems like the majority of people are kind of not happy with new Shrek. What if it's a genuine technique by Universal? Which is,
believable, yeah.
That's believable.
But again, especially remember.
Especially with a teaser trailer, but I've also heard that they weren't going to put out a teaser trailer, and that they only did because it got leaked that Zendaya might be in this movie, so they quickly slapped together a trailer. So I could also just fully believe that those models are not polished. They're not intended to look like that. Sure. Everything that people are saying looks wrong with them does look wrong with them, and they have not finished the product, and it will look fine by the next trailer.
This isn't a teaser trailer for the movie. It's an announcement trailer to confirm that they're in fact making the movie that they probably cobbled together in like a couple of weeks. Again, people need to chill out. This is a 27-second trailer of a movie that doesn't come out for 2 years. Now, if this were a trailer where we saw plot and characters and what this was about, then at that point, it's like I said, we need to see more of it. Like,
this is barely even a concept teaser.
Right? People need to chill out. And also, and we're gonna get there, I promise you, that original Shrek is way worse than you remember it. That's it. That's the news.
Yeah. I'm so tired of hearing people say, "Oh, we bullied them into changing Sonic. We can change."
So am I. Like, no, fuck
it's so irritating. Like, you could just learn to accept that things sometimes don't turn out how you personally want them to.
Right.
This could be a real growth moment for you.
Right.
Just grow up.
Right. It's like, we don't need to. Like I say, I was happy with the result of that, but no, every time you don't like something with a movie doesn't mean you can bully a studio into it. Like, it's just, Ugly Sonic just empowered stupid people on the internet, and you never want to do that.
It taught the wrong lesson and set the wrong precedent.
Absolutely sent the wrong message. You're absolutely right. Jordan, that's it for the news. Jordan, for You weren't even going to let me do an intro? No, we're going to do that again, but with the intro. Jordan, for the final time in Season 3, the news theme.
Oh wait, no, it's just evolved into an actual
Jordan,
song.
the Trump dance is going to be funny this week for reasons that'll become evident later. Today's episode, I didn't put in an Amazon sponsorship. I probably should have. But you know what? For funsies, because it's the season 3 finale, this episode is brought to you once again by Arte Media. We just want to thank Jake and everyone in the Arte Media pantheon. Jake, Virus, always have me on Toon Talk. I always have fun on that. Jake's been on this show a bunch. Haley's been on this show a bunch. We want the rest of you on here whenever you can. Allie from Literature and Lingerie's freshly new. She was on the show. Adam was on the show. We're going to get you guys all back next season. You're all going to come back. We're going to talk about movies and have a good time and laugh and do all kinds of crazy stuff. Jake as well. Also, we do Star Trek, the Final Frontier, every Monday. That's getting pretty close to the end of season 1. And obviously, we're brought to you by the Spur of the Moment podcast. We will be back with season 4 on what date did I say? The 22nd of March. We will be back. You will find out what with at the end of the show. But yes, we don't intend to stop doing this anytime soon. We have too much fun. Go to Arte Media. You can see us. You can see other stuff we do. It's great. artemedia.org. Check that out. That's always in the description down below. Check them out.
Chickadee, check yourself before you wreck yourself.
You wouldn't want to wreck yourself. But you could not wreck yourself by going to artemedia.org. On with the show, Jordan?
On with the Oscars.
It's the Oscars. It's Oscar season, baby, and that's tonight. Tonight is the Oscars. They're doing the Oscars tonight. And so I thought, because, algorithm, we'd do an obligatory Oscars special. So we talked about that. You can tune in. We each talked about 2 movies from this year's Oscars. But leading up to that, we're gonna talk about a bunch of different movies that have been nominated in previous year's Oscars. Jordan, what is your first rapid fire of this lovely Sunday afternoon?
Yeah, so I'm gonna first thing I'm gonna warn is I don't actually know what half of these were nominated for. I couldn't be bothered to look them up. So just know that there was a big list of movies that had at one point or another been nominated for some sort of Oscar, and these were all on that list.
Most of them had like one nomination, which usually means if it has one nomination, that means very likely it got nominated for a bullshit technical award.
Usually.
The funniest one thus far has been A Bug's Life, where it was like, oh yeah, this predates Best Animated Feature. We'll get there.
Whoa, you just spoiled what I was literally about to announce. Well, thanks for that. First one we're going to talk about is A Bug's Life.
Yeah. The one you actually bothered to look up.
Which, yeah, because I was like, how on earth? And so, back in the day, they didn't have any sort of Oscar for animation, so this one was like Best Score, Musical Score, Comedy Musical Score, or whatever.
He got nominated for Best Musical Score, yeah.
Which is a choice.
Yeah, that's why Beauty and the Beast got nominated for Best Picture. It's one of the only, I think, Disney movies. Haley could correct me on this, but it's one of the few Disney movies that I believe was nominated for Best Picture, and that's why. So it didn't have an animated character.
We all know this movie.
Yeah, it's Seven Samurai.
You got Flick. He's going to get a group of warrior bugs to stop the grasshoppers, who the grasshoppers are terrible and led by Kevin Spacey. So, do with that what you will.
He's so terrible.
He comes back. They do a whole plan where there's a bird, a fake bird, and then Grasshopper Hopper gets eaten by an actual bird. But before that, there's this awesome speech that he makes about the little ants and how they need to be kept in line. Future Justin can put it in here.
I just might.
And I've left him a nice convenient spot for cutting purposes. I like this movie. I remember the video game, which was hard because all of these old Disney games had PlayStation 1 video games, which were all hard.
They were all
Um,
very difficult.
which, you could question whether the game itself was difficult or just poorly designed.
Yeah, no.
Um,
I found out that A Bug's Life is just Seven Samurai, and it blew my mind.
I don't know what that is, but
It's
it sounds
a
famous.
it's a samurai movie, which is about a guy who it's also for more contemporary reference. Zack Snyder. Rebel Moon. It's the same plot as Rebel Moon, where there's a guy and they go get a bunch of warriors and they have to defend a village.
Huh. Okay.
It's very,
Interesting.
It's a very famous Kurosawa samurai movie.
All right then.
Right?
What's funny about this movie is, I remember when it came out, like at the same time. I don't remember. I think it was DreamWorks came out with a movie about an ant who goes on a journey and comes back to save the colony. Ants, the other
Ants.
one.
Yeah, the other weird one. Yeah.
Um, and yeah. So I mean, obviously, this is based on the ant and the grasshopper,
Yep.
as well as apparently Seven Samurai, whatever that is.
Yep.
And yeah, this was one of the first 3D animated movies. It's not the first one, but it's one of the first ones. Uh, Interesting. Um, Apparently during like when this movie was being made, there was a public feud between DreamWorks Jeffrey Katzenberg and Pixar's Steve Jobs and
Yep.
John Lasseter.
Yep. It's what led to DreamWorks. Anyway,
Interesting.
do you
So that's
do you have anything else to say about
that's
Bugs
that.
Life?
No, that's A Bug's Life. It's fun.
Yeah. No, it's good. It's good. It's also when Pixar used to animate bloopers, so they have bloopers at the end of that movie. It's fun.
That is true.
Do I take me seriously? I'm pretty sure I messed that up. Anyway, my first one is a movie called Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? And it's made by the Coen brothers, and it stars George Clooney, Tim Blake Nelson, and John Turturro, and they are three guys on a chain gang, and they are trying to get back to find this treasure. But then later on, it's revealed that they actually want to get back to George Clooney's wife, and it's a retelling of the Odyssey. And George Clooney's character is Odysseus, and it contains the song. Well, it's very famous for having a cover of the song "Man of Constant Sorrow," and it's quite funny. There's so many lines in it I can just quote. Like there's a point where in order to make money, that's why they become the Soggy Bottom Boys. They go to a blind radio owner and they record this song. And while they're trying to get back to this wife, because it takes place in like old timey South, they become really famous. But nobody, because it's oldie times, nobody knows who they are. And they're like criminals or whatever, and they happen to like run into this guitar player, this black guitar player, who claims he sold his soul to the devil to get good at playing guitar, and they wind up in like one of the final scenes at this like campaign event for one of the governor candidates. And the entire time, there's the old governor candidate is just this awful guy who is just he's been governor for forever. And he's just this bad guy, and he's running against he's running against this other guy. The entire time you think that this other guy is the good guy, and it turns out that no, he's part of the KKK. So he runs up while they're performing, and he's like, "There's miscegenated, like there's integrated, it's bad," and turns out he's a real bad guy.
How bad is he?
I mean, depends on how bad you consider the KKK.
Pretty bad, though.
Pretty bad, yeah, no, pretty bad.
Pretty bad.
Pretty bad. Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's really good. It's I really like George Clooney in it. He's really fun. He's having a great time. They're all great in it. Tim Blake Nelson is also fun. Yeah, it's got kind of Tennessee Williams kind of like flair to the dialogue. Have you seen it?
No, I don't. That's why I was gonna pick it as I have not seen, but you stole it right from out from under me.
I did. I did. You were like, I'm gonna watch it. I'm like, nah, I'm about to watch that. You're like, dang it. Dang
Yeah,
it.
I blame you for all my troubles,
I blame the system.
even even when they're not your fault.
That is it. That is
Especially when they're not your fault.
that is
A man of constant sorrows.
a man of constant sorrow. No. Oh, I understand. That is a man. That is oh brother, we're out there. Sorry, it just popped up on my phone that a hamster and several hamsters in a trench coat liked one of my stories, and I needed to know why.
What?
Yeah. No.
That's a funny username. I appreciate that.
What is your next one, Jordan?
So, have you ever heard of the movie Django Unchained?
I have heard of the movie. I like that movie. That's.
So, okay, fun fact about me is I'm not really big into westerns.
I mean, it is a western, but like I wouldn't.
It's a revisionist western film is what it's described as.
Yeah.
It makes fun of spaghetti westerns.
Yeah.
Or homages them, I guess is a better way of saying it. But I really enjoy this movie. I think it's one of Jamie Foxx's best movies. I like Christoph Waltz in it. Leonardo DiCaprio. No, that's not what I was trying to say.
Crap in this movie.
DiCaprio is such a piece of crap in this movie. Like he's a bad guy. He's a bad man.
He's a craprio.
But there's a scene, fun fact, there's the scene where he's holding the wine glass and it breaks and his hand starts bleeding. Fun fact, that wasn't supposed to happen. And he actually cut his hand there, and that was actually his like real blood. Ow. It wasn't fake. He actually held the glass too hard and it snapped in his hand and cut his hand.
Ow, that hurts.
And he just was such a consummate professional that he committed to the bit.
Apparently, I don't know how true this is. He was real resistant to saying the N-word, and Samuel L. Jackson had to be like, just do it. You're the guy you're playing.
Yeah.
Doesn't care.
So that is something. Is as a person of the year 2025, that word is bad, and my brain is so trained to know that it's bad.
Right.
So it is every time I hear it in this movie, I'm just like, stop it.
I don't like how much they're saying the N-word.
And then there's Samuel L. Jackson's character, who I would argue, even compared to all of the racist white people that are in this movie, is the worst character in this movie.
That is a fair argument.
Because
he's the worst.
He's the worst.
He's the worst.
You know why.
You know why. There's a particular word you call him. I don't know if we can get away with calling him what you call him.
No, I don't think we could. Ever. At any point. So, all I'll say is that this movie is really good.
It involves being someone's uncle, is what it involves.
This movie's good, is the point.
It is good. I quite like it. Christoph Waltz is really good in it. He's one of my... That's the movie I go, I love Christoph Waltz in most everything. Even that bad Green Hornet movie.
Like, I love the part in the beginning where he's like, so, here's how your fate stands as I see it. You as a team could lift the horse off this poor gentleman, take him to the nearest doctor, and allow yourselves to be purchased, as it were. Or you could take his gun, pow, and be on your merry way.
Right?
And then the scene just ends with them walking toward and him being like, now hold on a minute, guys, let's just talk about this. I was just doing my job, I swear. No. Like, fuck me, man.
It's good. It's good shit.
Powerful scene. Powerful way to open your movie too.
Right? Jordan, is that it for
Yeah, I mean, on YouTube, there's really only so much you can say about this movie.
Right? Without saying the bad words. All right. My next one is a movie starring.
I already said that was all you could say without talking about the sport, and then we just sat there in silence.
It's true, because it was all we could say. My next one is a movie called starring Reese Witherspoon and Tobey Maguire. It's a movie called Pleasantville. Jordan, have you seen Pleasantville?
I do not believe I have.
Are you familiar with Pleasantville?
I do not believe that I am.
All right, Pleasantville. Yeah, like I said, it stars Tobey Maguire, Reese Witherspoon. They play brother and sister, and Tobey Maguire is really obsessed with a Leave It to Beaver black and white sitcom called Pleasantville. And whilst in the middle of an argument, and Reese Witherspoon is like the bad girl. And whilst in an argument, a TV repairman played by Don Knotts shows up and pulls them into the world of Pleasantville, and they become black and white. And the movie is about them trying to blend in. At first, Tobey Maguire's like, yeah, don't mess with their world too much because it might break their universe. And Reese Witherspoon's like, why shouldn't I? And so she does stuff like she sleeps with the jock character that she's not supposed to sleep with, which is played by what's his face? The guy from Fast and the Furious who died.
I know who you're talking about.
What was his name? Shoot.
Hold on.
Shoot. I want to see if I can do this. If I can guess this before you pull it up on Google. Come on, it's right there.
Oh, Frank Walker. That was it. Before I looked
Walker.
it up.
Paul Walker.
Paul Walker.
Paul Walker. Yeah. Paul Walker.
Something Walker.
Really young.
As I was typing in Fast and the Furious, I was like Walker, something Walker.
Yeah, Paul Walker. Really young Paul Walker is there. Jeff Daniels is there. That's pretty much it. I guess Tobey Maguire's there. And because I think he got Spider-Man off the back of this, because I think they did costume testing with him in the clothes from this movie. He's really quite good in this. He's very much like Peter Parker, and the movie's sort of about learning. It's a metaphor for learning not to repress your inner feelings. So as it goes on, people start to turn to color as they so the sitcom mother character, she enjoys herself in the bathtub. That causes her to turn to color and slowly initially and also what's his name?
Enjoys herself in the bathtub.
What's his name? The guy from Wild Hogs.
Which guy from Wild Hogs? Danny
William H. Macy. The one who's not John Travolta.
Yeah.
William,
the nerd, the big nerd.
Yeah, the nerd. Yeah, he's there as the husband, and
the guy who's also in Kingdom of the Planets of the Apes.
Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Is he?
William H. Macy?
Yes, he is. Yes, he is in Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. You're right. Yeah. He's there, and he's the sitcom husband, and his whole thing is he just wants his meat. He just wants food. He just wants the wife to bring him food all the time. And his moment of turning into color is that he realizes that he enjoys her company, for her, not just for bringing her food. And the whole thing is
whoa, Justin! It wouldn't just be for her food. He probably also really likes it when she brings his slippers, cigar, and old fashioned.
Yeah. No old fashioned. The universe is too repressed for that initially.
Oh, okay.
And so the thing is, the teenagers all start having sex, and it all of them start to turn to color, and it's initially when they get there, there's nothing. The history classes or geography is there's nothing outside of the town, and as the world becomes color, and it's really cool. From a cinematography standpoint. There's scenes where it's melded. Some of the people are color, some of them are still black and white, and it obviously becomes a metaphor for discrimination. And the performances are really good. Jeff Daniels is there as a guy who he basically Tobey Maguire and the sister become the brother sister character from the show, and so because they're so like put off by being trapped in a television show, they don't follow the routine that the characters are used to. So he doesn't show up for work, he's late, and so the shop owner, this burger shop owner, he has to do everything himself. And this causes a whole disillusionment of his entire being. Just his whole life falls apart because he's like, we do the same thing every day. What is my life? Is it the same thing every single day? And he decides that he wants to become an artist. And yeah, the performance is really subtle and just really good. And it's otherwise a good movie until it kind of makes you think about the mechanics of how the world works. So the Don Knotts character traps them in the TV show, but like he periodically like shows up to yell at Tobey Maguire for doing like for breaking the characters out of their shell or whatever. And at a certain point, he shows up and he's like, "Oh, you've made this big mess of this universe. I'm going to reset the whole thing and make everything the way it is." But like, the movie doesn't explain how anything works.
This feels like it was originally a TV show that got made into a movie.
I could believe it.
As you're describing it, it sounds like each episode is him going and interacting with a different character and helping them
I could
learn the lesson of the day. What you're describing, it feels like it very much makes me think of like a old school television, like 80s kind of,
right?
like
Well,
one.
I mean, this is one. I think it got nominated for wardrobe when I looked it up. It wasn't like best picture or like best acting or anything. But like, if I had to make a criticism of the script, the ending kind of is where it falls apart because okay, so yeah, the movie is everyone coming to terms to who they are, or whatever, and it gets to the point where mostly everybody is color. Oh no, sorry. Tobey Maguire and Jeff Daniels get put on trial because they eventually institute this like these archaic like you're not allowed to speak to each other like 1950s era repressive like we're trying to repress you kind of laws. And they paint this painting and they get arrested and they're put on the city's first trial. And long story short, he makes the dad turn to color by getting to, like I said before, getting to him to acknowledge that he likes the wife for more than just food. And he gets the mayor, who's the only one who's black and white, still, to admit that like he gets angry. He's like, "Oh, you're pissed off at me, right?" He's like, "No, I'm not pissed off at you." And he's like, "Oh, women one day could work and leave the husbands and not make them food. Doesn't that make you angry?" And then he turns to color and he runs off in shame. And then out of nowhere, Tobey Maguire, even though he's had no reason to, because the entire time he's developed this love interest with the one of the female characters who's supposed to be in love with another guy, but she's falling in love with Tobey Maguire, and he has no reason or desire or want to go home, but just because the movie realizes it needs to end, he's like, "Oh, I need to go home now." And the sister,
I have to go now. Bye.
right?
Bye.
But he has no reason to. Like he's given no reason to. He could totally stay, and he's developed a really strong relationship with the parents on the show. And he's like, at the beginning of the movie, his mom, played by the mom from Malcolm in the Middle, like hates him and the sister, and like is trying to pass him off on the divorced dad because his mom is divorced and wants to go away for the weekend, to stay with this guy. And so she's abandoned them and doesn't. So he's developed this relationship with his mother. And so yeah, he just out of nowhere decides to go home. And the sister, because her storyline through the movie, is she starts off like a promiscuous, and like just a real mean girl.
That's not the word you were gonna use.
No, I was gonna call her what she called herself.
And
so yeah, so she
what they should have done is they should have made it either where like the longer he's there the more unstable the world becomes where it'll fall apart,
yeah,
or they should have made it where the longer he stays there the more he becomes like them and he starts losing himself and that's why he feels he has to go.
Well, as the thing goes on, they progressively become more modernized. That's the thing. And so, but her storyline is that she discovers she's a book nerd. Like she likes books and she likes learning, and she ultimately decides to stay to go to college in the world because at the end of the movie everyone turns color and now there's an outside world. And so she decides she's going to go off to college in the television world. And he's like, "Don't worry, I'll come visit you." And then he goes back to the real world and the mom has chickened out and not gone on the date, and he's comforting her. He's like, "Don't worry, Mom, nobody's perfect. Oh, by the way, your daughter, she's gone. She's never coming back. She's going to live in a weird television world now." It's very strange. It's very odd. And like,
Sounds like a weird movie.
it implies that he still has the remote, so he could go back and visit if he wants to. But it's very confusing. And like I say, the world makes sense within this in the like context that it's a magical television world. The rules more or less make sense until the end. Then it's like this.
Yeah. So
This doesn't
okay.
make sense.
So does the world continue to move, like the TV world continue to like live when he's not there, or is it in a permanent state of stasis where nothing changes until he comes back?
Well, it's implied that the Don Knotts television repair guy character controls the world. So, like, it seems like he maybe decided to not change the world back when he went back.
No, but I'm saying, is it like does time work the same in both worlds,
No.
or does it stay paused until the main character goes back and visits?
He's been there. It appears he's
So
been
like,
there for
what I'm saying is his sister has gone off into the net, like into the ether in this TV world. Is she then paused until he comes back to the world, so then the world can continue living?
Well, it appears that time works differently. The time dilation is different. So I don't know. They don't, I think, specifically say how long they were in the TV world, but it seems like it's been multiple weeks to like a month, like to like months. And in the real world, he's only been gone for an hour.
Okay, interesting. Because like in the sequel, it would be interesting if he goes back and like now he's 50 and his sister's still only like however old, like a week older or whatever than she is now.
If I'm understanding correctly, if anything, it'd be the opposite. She'd be like the old woman, and he'd still be like a young adult.
Okay. Because yeah, I mean that would be interesting too.
Yeah.
Like he goes back in, and like now he's helping out like his granddaughter or something who is the age of what is, and that'd be a great way to recast.
True. Yeah, that's it for Pleasantville. Very odd movie that I enjoyed. That they made us watch in school when I was in high school, but they skipped over the part where she enjoyed herself in the bathtub.
That makes sense. That feels like something that would be skipped over. That's like in one of my later ones. There's a part in the original book which was very much skipped over.
Ooh,
Anyway, we'll get there. Yeah, that's it. That's it for
Pleasantville.
All right. So my next one is a 2008 historical drama film, which is apparently based on a play, by Peter Morgan. I watched Frost Nixon.
I feel like I knew that.
I didn't realize that was based on a play.
Yeah, that movie makes a lot of what Nixon said seem hyper dramatic. Like in that movie when he's like, "I'm saying when the president does it, it's not illegal." He didn't say it like that.
It's not a crime.
It was more like, "I'm saying when the president does it, it's not a crime."
I really liked this movie. Even just okay, removing from the fact that it's based on real events, it's just as a movie, it's an enjoyable movie.
That really is, yeah.
It's got like a good hook. You've got the interviewer who's trying to bring down this corrupt president, and make him face justice, the justice that he would never face in court. Like it's got a real good hook to it.
Yes.
And I think that both actors do a very good job in their roles. Michael Sheen does very well as David Frost, and Frank Langella. I've never actually seen anything with the actual president, so like as compared to all the parodies that I've seen, like in Futurama and stuff, it feels like Nixon.
Yeah, that does, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, what else is there really to say about this movie?
I remember quite liking it. Yeah, you're right. I remember it being like the performance is just being good. He doesn't really do it. Again, approximation, not so much an impression, I would say.
Sorry, for Nixon or for Frost?
For Nixon.
Yeah, like I said, I would. He does pretty good.
Yeah.
From what I can tell anyway.
Pretty good.
I just think, like I said, the performances of the people in this,
pretty good.
I think are pretty good.
Pretty good. Pretty darn
I mean,
good.
there's obviously in terms of historical accuracy, there's dramatic license, like
It really is.
of especially with the behind the scene details, like one of Nixon's official biographers, who spent much time with the former president at La Casa Pacifica, rebukes the film for its portrayal of a drunken Nixon making a late night phone call as never having happened. Ron Howard discussed the scene on his feature commentary for the DVD release, pointing out it was a deliberate act of dramatic license. While Frost never received such a phone call, it was known that Richard Nixon, during the Watergate scandal, had occasionally made phone calls that he couldn't very well recall the following day. So, they took creative liberty.
All right. Is that it for Nixon?
Yeah, it was good. I like it.
You'll like it. You'll like it. My next one was a real musical extravaganza.
Extravaganza.
The one movie this guy did that did well, even though he was supposed to do a bunch of other movies. It's 8 Mile with Eminem. Mom Spaghetti and whatnot.
Mom Spaghetti.
And this movie's better than it should be.
Vomit on your sweater already.
It's for those of you who have never seen 8 Mile. 8 Mile plays.
I've never seen 8 Mile.
I thought you had seen 8 Mile.
Nope.
Oh. He plays Jimmy B. Rabbit. I forget his last name, and he's an up and coming rapper who lives in the 8 Mile suburb. He lives in 8 Mile, Detroit, and he has recently broken up with his girlfriend and has moved back in with his mom and his little sister, who the dialogue makes me think that at one point was his daughter. The way he interacts with her is odd. It feels like at one point in the script, in the he was his like young kid, like this, because I believe she was like roughly the same age as his daughter at the time. And then they changed it to sister last minute. Like he's the and yeah, he lives with the mother, and he's trying to pick up work at this like Detroit plate pressing plant so he can like afford to move out. And his friend is trying to convince him to do rap battles in this basement, and his other friend is like, I can get you a record deal, for record deal. And he meets Brittany Murphy in the meantime, and it's about his life and whatever. And it's honestly pretty good. Eminem's way better in this than he deserves. The one part of it, I think I joked to you, that's unrealistic to me, is I don't understand why these guys are friends with Cheddar Bob. Cheddar Bob is he's their other white friend, because this friend group is 3 black guys, and Eminem, and then Cheddar Bob. And Cheddar Bob is that like, he's that white guy friend. I can say this because we're white and everyone knows this guy. We are not this guy, but he's that friend who thinks he can say the N-word.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
I'm looking at a picture of him. Okay, I don't know him, but okay.
Yeah, he's the kind of his dynamic within this friend group is he says like ridiculous things. Like he said he's a little too he doesn't say the N-word, but like he's a little too comfortable. Like he's the kind of like, I have black friends, I can say vaguely racist stuff kind of white guy friend.
He's the W word.
Yeah.
Equivalent of that.
Well, Eminem's more the W word equivalent of that, but like that they in fact call him that multiple times. This guy's more, I guess this guy maybe would be like, he's more like me and you. It's not, I don't understand how or why they're friends, and the movie never explains it.
He's a poser?
Kinda, yeah. More just like he's the kind of guy who like he means well, but he just says dumb. He's the kind of white guy.
I have a specific person that I'm thinking of, which I'm not going to say the name of, but I feel like you'll know who I'm talking about when I say he used to say that he had a GameCube.
Yeah, that kind of white. Where you're like, there's no person of color who would ever hang out with this person.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just not that they're all like reasonably hardened gangsters, and you're like, he's so white. There's no reason they would hang out with him. It's unbelievable. Like I get why Eminem would, and maybe he gets to hang out with them because Eminem does. But like, it's a dynamic I don't understand, and the movie never really explains. Also, like, there's a subplot. This movie seems like maybe it got fucked around a bit, either in editing or in writing, because there's a subplot and there's multiple scenes of him sitting around writing music, implying and it plays on an unfinished version of "Lose Yourself" in the background, where it's just the music and occasional lyrics, and it's like shown as he's writing down this music, and it's implied that he's writing "Lose Yourself" with the implication that we will hear it by the end of the movie, but like we never do. It's really weird.
Okay, that's a choice.
And otherwise, it's It's a well-paced movie. It's a pretty well-paced movie, and the scene at the end where he does the rap battles is totally worth the movie for itself. It's really good. All the rap battles are good. Also, Anthony Mackie is in this movie, and it was very weird.
So it's funny because I know the rap battle scene that you're talking about, not necessarily because I've seen this movie, but I've seen enough things that have made fun of it.
Yeah.
Including Robot Chicken, where they do it with Looney Tunes.
Yeah, that one's good.
I've also just seen people on TikTok who have literally taken that scene and they have other things playing on top of it. So the one that I've seen most recently is "I need a cash med settlement. I need cash now."
Right.
I've seen things like that where they've done that, and so I know the scene you're talking about, even though I've never seen the original scene.
It's a pretty great scene. Like his raps are good. Like the final one he does against Papa Doc is just really good. The ending it's really weird because the ending feels like there was maybe another ending and it got changed because in order to do the final rap battles, he's at work, like he's taking a double shift, and he has one of the guys cover him, and the guy's just like, sure, why not? And he just takes off for like multiple hours to do this rap battle. And after he wins, because obviously he wins, he goes to go back to work. And it's just very odd. They're like, where are you going? He's like, I'm going back to work. And it feels like that was like a reshoot, or it was something that was changed last minute. And maybe we would have seen him getting to record. It's just very odd that the movie's like, well, that's just another day. It's a very odd resolution.
That's just his Tuesday.
And also, it won Best Song, because "Lose Yourself" is really good. It's a genuinely good song. Although it is also, when you listen to the lyrics, very confused because it both like it's not quite sure. It's both a fourth wall breaking commentary on the movie, because there's the line about Mekhi Phifer, who's the guy who plays the best friend, and like, yeah, there's weird fourth wall breaking lines in it. But also, it seems to want to also be in character as well. The Von Spaghetti and all that shit. It's very odd. But it is a good song, and it definitely deserved that Best Song.
Part of your Broadway World podcast says, wait, hold on. You finally saw Wicked? Lol, wish you would have for my episode of Wicked.
No, the point of your episode was that I hadn't seen Wicked. That was the bit. You guys were explaining, and now I've seen it. Yeah, we're going to get there. That's coming up. Stick around, I'm going to talk about Wicked. That's 8 Mile.
Eventually.
Yeah, that was 8 Mile. I quite like that movie. Fully recommend it. Quite good.
So my next rapid fire is probably one that I should have done as a full on pick, but because this feels like one that you could just dissect and rip into. I watched The Kite Runner. So this was one where the first time I have read the book.
Yeah.
I read it in high school as one of my class books, which is a funny story because my class was one of the first which were allowed to read something other than All Quiet on the Western Front. my teacher very specifically, at least from what I remember from what she said, very specifically like went to the school board and was like, "Can we please read this book?" and had to like argue the merits of it. Um, because a big contention point, and we're gonna do largely the same thing that we did back in my class and skate over this.
Yeah.
But there's a part in the book where a bad thing happens to a young boy.
Bad thing happens
That's
to
all.
a very young
That's
boy, and that's
that's
all you need to
that's
know.
all we're gonna say.
And
If you feel the need to know more, read the book, watch
it
the
is
movie yourself.
it
You'll get
is
the idea.
unpleasantly
Um,
described in the movie and in the book. I mean, and I believe the movie more or less just kind of glosses over it.
the movie does as much to gloss over it as it can, without directly skipping it.
Yeah.
Um, but it's a really powerful book and a really it's um the so okay. Here's what I'll say. I from what I remember, I remember the book being better than the movie.
Yeah.
And
I don't even remember. I remember the same thing. I don't remember why.
well, okay, so and this is where the reason why I like the book better is because the book is entirely in English.
Yeah.
Um, whereas, and I understand why they went the route of having them speak the actual language in the movie, but in a book, obviously, you can't have half the book be in one language and half the book be in another language because
Well,
you can't have subtitles in a book. I mean, I suppose you could, but
feels
kind of would defeat the
feels
purpose.
fairly redundant.
Um, whereas in the movie, yeah, there's large chunks where they speak in various languages, um, and so you end up having to read subtitles. But it's still a good movie, and for those who don't know, basically, a good chunk of the beginning of the book, we follow the main character whose name I don't remember, um, and his father has a
I don't
servant,
remember, and I couldn't pronounce it if I did.
Amir, I think it is. Um, but and his father has a servant who works for him, and his servant has a child, and him and that like they're friends, they're good friends, and then that bad, horrible, unfortunate thing that we previously alluded to happens, and Amir kind of starts to treat his friend like dirt. Also, there's this whole racial component where um, there's like a caste system,
Yeah, and
and
he's
so
of a lower class.
yeah, he's of a lower class, and so that's a whole thing. Um, and then at a certain point in the book or in the story, the Russians invade, and then the dad and Amir escape Afghanistan and end up in America, and then we fast forward to years later and Amir is now an adult, and he receives word from the servant of his dad to come back to Afghanistan. Kabul specifically is the town where he grew up, and we find out that his childhood friend, has had a child and needs rescuing, and Mir then has to go into Taliban controlled Afghanistan. I believe it's Afghanistan, um, and save his friend's son.
Yes,
And it's really impactful,
the
and there's a lot.
the bully, the bully who him when he was a kid is the one who has him kidnapped because he's with the Taliban now. It's implied that he also, yeah, the book implies way worse stuff about him.
There's
Just a bad
it's a
guy.
it's a very serious book, or at least I think it is. I think it was, looking back on it, I'm surprised we were allowed to read it in
No,
school.
same. Yeah, I
Um,
took it in a continuing education course. We got to that part of the book, and the teacher very uncomfortably was like, "Yeah, we're not going to talk about that." And I
yeah,
being like, "It feels
that's
like we should. Feels like we should. It's kind of a
basically what
major
my
part of the
teacher was
book."
like, because like she would assign chapters for us to read at home, and I of course I loved reading. I
It is
still like reading,
really
but
unpleasant.
I finished the book way ahead of everyone, and so I got to that section way ahead of everyone. And we hit that point, and the teacher assigns the homework, and she's like, "Where you're gonna hit a point where like yeah, there's a bad thing happens. Um, I'm acknowledging that it happens. We can't talk about it."
Yeah, we cannot talk about it because it's an unpleasant thing. Jordan, is that it
Yeah,
for the
that's
kite
all. That's
runner?
all. That's all that we're going to talk about for the Kite Runner. Maybe one day we'll do a more in depth version.
I will
I'll
say,
find I'll find a way to make you watch it or something. I don't know, but
I will say, I've always wanted to. I've always wanted to do kite fighting. That looks fun.
yeah, that's the whole thing in this book too. Anyways, Kite Runner.
Kite Runner. It's funny that you went with Kite Runner for your next one because my next one is from that sort of part of the world. It's a movie called, I believe it won Best Picture, and I maintain that like I don't think this movie is exceptionally great. I like it better now than I did the first time I watched it, but it's a movie called Slumdog Millionaire.
Yeah, I've never seen that one.
Yeah, for some reason you refused to come watch it with me. I don't know why, but you
I have
did.
no idea.
But it's about a
I feel like
gentleman.
I feel like thinking about it, I feel like there was some underlying reason which had nothing to do with the movie, and it was probably like a matter of pride or something. I don't know.
I couldn't tell you. I mean, you ended up coming and watching The Reader, which is just 90% porn. No, it's not fair.
It,
It's like 30% porn. Anyway,
anyways,
anyway, the Slumdog Millionaire is about a gentleman. It's a love story about a gentleman who is on the Indian equivalent to Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. And he is nailing all the questions. And the people who run that show are like, he's poor and stupid, so he must be cheating. And so they pull him aside and are torturing him to try and get him to confess that he's cheating. And it just turns out, Jordan, that they've asked him a series of hyper-specific questions that all somehow coincidentally all tie into his life. So every single question that comes up, they flash back to his life, which is when he's from a poor slum in India, him and his brother. And when he was a kid, he got an autograph from this famous Indian actor, and the brother sold it against his wishes. And then their parents die in some sort of riot, and then they meet this girl, and they start working for this criminal who basically trains them all to appear to be orphans. And they find out that he wants to blind them to make them a more efficient beggar. And then they escape, and then and then they leave the girl, and they eventually find the girl later on, and she's still working for the guy, and they kill him, and they escape, and the brother, it's implied that he assaults the sister, like sexually assaults her, and he never sees them again. He ends up working at a call center, and then he winds up on their version of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, and the movie is basically about his life. Every time he gets a question, it's a piece of information from his life, and that's the movie. And it's pretty good. But the weird thing about it for me was, and this is one of those movies that made me go, I'm not Indian, I don't understand their culture. So like, I'm like, what? Why do they just automatically assume that because he knows this information, he's cheating? I'm sure this is a case of like, I just don't get it and I'm dumb.
well, I feel like maybe and this is me
Like it's like
using
just to put the
this is me using my movie to maybe maybe it's like he's Hassam, which was the servant class. So it could be that he comes from the lower class, and so they would expect him to be uneducated.
I think that's what it is. Yeah. Again, I fully recognize this is me showing my ignorance here. I'm not gonna. This is an example of I'm not speaking with any authority. I want to make that very clear. Yes, because he's from the slums. So they know he's from the slums. Or like, you're from the slums, you shouldn't have this information, but yet you do. And then as he tells this police chief, this story, the police chief kind of like starts to believe him. And when the brother assaults the sister, it's like, they're too young. It's more icky because they look really young, and I'm like, ew, it made me uncomfortable. I was like, I don't like this. It makes me uncomfortable. I get that's the point. The other thing that's kind of weird about it, it's one of those things where I'm unsure if this is supposed to be like it's the audience perspective, but all of the characters, despite living in India, all speak English with a heavy Indian accent.
I mean, as I understand, I don't. Isn't part of India part of the British? There was something about the
Oh yeah, that
this
is
is
true. Yeah,
why
yeah, yeah, yeah. They were part of the. They were Brit
they were
or
part
Brit.
of the Britain.
That is true, but like, yeah, and to be fair,
Like that's why they speak really good
in
English.
my day job, I work with Indians, and I didn't have the courage to ask this, but I'm like, would you do they Indian people in the comments? Maybe let me know. Do you guys speak English regularly? Because it was very weird. Like there are scenes where like I'm like, oh, maybe it's a case of like they are like they're speaking Indian, but like in the as the audience member, I'm seeing them speak English because it's an American movie.
I think it also depends on where in India it is too, because
Maybe.
yeah, like there's definitely there's like in movies and stuff, different movies. There's always like the one Indian guy who speaks with like a British accent.
No, no,
Like
but
there's
this is all like they've got Indian accents. Like they're very much like the main character. He's got like a thick Indian accent, and the inspector who's torturing him has like a like. So yeah, that but like it's weird because occasionally they'll speak English or speak what I'm guessing is Punjabi. I'm not sure what language it is, but so there'll be scenes where they're speaking Punjabi and it's subtitled, but then they'll just go back to speaking English for large chunks of the movie. It's
I
very
mean,
odd.
I don't know about in India, but they definitely do that in Canada.
Yeah, yeah, I know, but this is they're speaking to other Indians. So like I'm like in India, you would expect them to.
I know. I'm saying in Canada, even at least from what I've seen, working at my last job, they would drop in and out of English all the
Yeah,
time.
but we're in Canada, and English is one of. I'm just saying, like to be fair, this is me. Yeah, someone let me know. Do they speak like? Do they have full bork? Is English a language they learn in India? Do they have conversations where people hang out speaking English? Because that was weird. It kind of pulled me out of it a little bit. What else?
My answer, my equally uneducated and fully just talking out my butt answer to that would be, I imagine it would depend on generation, location, um, and yeah,
I
generation.
mean,
Like the younger generations, I definitely believe speak more in English because they recognize that it's the world, one of the leading languages in the
sure.
world.
I think probably in the context of this movie, it's just a case of it's an American movie and they're speaking English. And then yeah,
Probably.
the other thing that pulled me out of it was just like it's wow, what a lucky coincidence that all of these questions just happen to align with your life so perfectly. It's a weird coincidence,
Almost like someone is cheating on your behalf.
right? Sure seems that way. And it's funny. I looked it up because it's funny because that was the other thing is the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire show. It's that is what that they exists in India, and I'm like, oh, because when he's doing the show, it's in English, right? The presenter, the host is speaking in English. All the questions are in English. He's speaking in English back, and I'm like, wait, so is this show in English in India? No, it's in Indian.
I mean, yeah, that makes sense.
So that's where I'm like, oh, is just this part of the hyper or part of the fantasy of this world that they're all speaking? But then, yeah, but then if it was all in English, I'd be like, case of like, oh, they're speaking Indian in like in universe they're speaking Indian, and we as the audience are just hearing it as English. I could accept that, but it's the fact that it kept swapping that was like, this is confusing. Anyway,
When you say speaking Indian, you mean speaking whatever dialect they are actually speaking, like Hindu or
or Punjabi, yeah, I just don't know which one it is.
yeah, because um,
I don't know any.
it sure sounds racist to me when you just blanket statements say speaking English, speaking Indian.
I don't know enough about the individual dialects to be able to disseminate which one it is. So I'm pretty sure it's Punjabi because when I googled, is it in English or in Punjabi, it said Punjabi. So I think it's Punjabi, but I'm not sure enough to say with confidence. But that's it. That's
Okay.
Slumdog Millionaire. I liked it. I mean, I'm not into romance movies, so like, and there's just a lot of coincidences in it. I didn't hate it as much as I did the last time. But the last time I was in my, you want to be a big asshole and say that an Oscar nominated movie is bad actually, which we're gonna talk about one that was bad actually. That's it. That's it.
Sorry. Um, um, my final rapid fire. So I traveled back in time to 2004. It was a very different time. It was a time when they gave full documentaries to things that would nowadays probably just be a YouTube video. I watched Super Size Me.
Ah, yes, the movie that's wrong.
Which the reason why I paused there was apparently Beavis and Butthead they did an episode called Super Size Me.
That's funny. Is it making fun of this movie?
Well, that's where I was just trying to read it, but they're watching an award show on TV. They see Morgan Spurlock of Super Size Me fame on the red carpet.
That's funny.
So by all appearances, yes, it seems to be very much making fun of that. Also, every time I heard the name Morgan Spurlock, I couldn't help but think to myself, so kids are cruel. Do you think when he was in school, people called him Spurlock Holmes?
I'm sure they did.
Because I that's not a nickname I wouldn't have minded having that. Hey,
Spurlock Holmes.
Yeah. So as I was watching this very old movie, all I could think to myself was, if you force feed yourself to eat anything that your body is rejecting for 3 square meals a day, the largest quantities, and are completely reckless with your diet, it doesn't matter if it's McDonald's or anything. It's probably not going to be great for your body to go through the sudden shock of completely changing your diet. If I all of a sudden completely shifted my diet, I'm not necessarily the healthiest of individuals. So if I all of a sudden completely shifted my diet and started only eating vegetables and shit, my body would probably not react very well, even though that's the healthiest foods that you could eat. Because my body is not accustomed to eating that diet.
I mean, also...
That's all this movie really proves.
Also, he just straight up lied for a lot of his numbers. I saw another documentary which basically said that all of his numbers don't add up mathematically. So yeah, he just lied. He was a liar.
I'm not going to speak one way or another to that because I can't.
But also, this documentary was unbelievably effective in that it caused McDonald's to get rid of the Super Size Me, even though a lot of his science was phony baloney.
Got rid of the Super Size Me, and I can't help but notice that they also no longer have playgrounds, and the advertising towards children has definitely changed, at least in Canada.
Oh yeah. I mean, I don't know if he's related to it, but I know that they did legislate it to basically say that poor Ronald McDonald was no worse or no better than the Marlboro Man.
Which, I mean, I could see the argument.
I could definitely see the argument.
So okay, this is where I have to say, as a documentary, I think this movie is a failure. As a comedy, I think it's hilarious.
I mean, yeah, that is an entertaining movie. Whether or not it's right. My favorite bit was when he's like, I'm suffering from erectile dysfunction.
My favorite part is where he's eating the food or whatever, and it literally shows him throwing up, and I lean to the invisible camera that's always off to the side filming me and say, now see, if this was a YouTube video, they would have cut this.
Right.
You wouldn't see the actual throw up on the ground.
Because they would have gotten demonetized.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, they could. That's the difference between the YouTube video and the movie. Is the movie they can show you the throw up.
Because they're already monetized.
Exactly. They already got them.
But this movie also apparently has a sequel, which I don't have any idea what the sequel is about. But maybe one day I'll go and I'll watch that one too.
Yep.
Counterclaim. So yeah, his reply documentary, Fathead. Tom Naughton suggests that Spurlock calorie and fat counts don't add up.
That's the one. Fathead. That's a good documentary.
And noted Spurlock's refusal to publish the Super Size Me food log. The Houston Chronicle reports, unlike Spurlock, Naughton has a page on his website that lists every item, including nutritional information that he ate. So, if you want the more realistic version of this, you should watch Fathead.
Yeah, Fathead. He also proved that like you can eat McDonald's every single day if you exercise and shit. And he proceeded with the exact same conditions that Spurlock did. He had to supersize when asked, and also it's all that. It's a good documentary.
Here's what I'll say is I've eaten McDonald's every Friday for like years at this point.
And I'm spelt as fuck.
And have you seen these guns?
No.
Check
out my games.
I'm not dead, so yet. Haven't had a heart attack yet.
Yet. Jordan, is that it?
I mean, what else is there really to say? Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. He wasn't loving it.
He was not loving it. Okay, my final rapid fire, Jordan, is a movie called Whiplash. A movie which the only reason to watch it is to watch J.K. Simmons yell at people and swear at them. Jordan, are you familiar with Whiplash? I doubt you've
never heard of it. Never heard of it.
I'm sure you have to have seen at least one meme of J.K. Simmons like sweaty yelling at someone, being like, "Why didn't you say so?" You have to have seen like at least the memes from this movie. That's where the idea of like J.K. Simmons being the guy who yells at people comes from. Anyway, it's about.
I mean, I thought that came from Spider-Man.
I mean, that definitely starts, but this is the one where like he's the guy who yells and swears at you. I believe won an Oscar for this one. He won Best Supporting Actor. But anyway, it's about Miles Teller, that guy from that Fantastic Four movie. He goes to a music school called Schaefer, and he's in the amateur band. And J.K. Simmons is the teacher for the studio band from that school. And Miles Teller wants to be the best drummer in the world. He wants to be as good as Buddy Rich, I'm guessing famous drummer. All the musician fans in the audience just groaned. And he wants to be as good as him. And in order to do that, he has to work really hard. And the best way to work really hard is if J.K. Simmons screams at him a bunch and throws a chair. He's like, this guy only became good when this guy threw a chair at his head. And there's a point when J.K. Simmons throws a chair at his head. And he's like, why'd you suppose I threw that chair at your head?
To make him better?
To make him better. And so, like, his whole thing is, like, in order to get good, you have to someone be really mean to you. And about midway through the movie...
Justin, you're a failure. You're a failure. You're never going to be good. So now you're going to be better.
I was more like, Jordan, you're a piece of shit. You fucking suck, you fat piece of shit.
Whoa. I was trying not to be that explicit because we're on YouTube.
That's what it would be. So about midway through the movie, one of his former students dies. And Miles Teller, he works really hard. He goes through this like agonizing 5-hour rehearsal where that J.K. Simmons keeps trying to make him drum really fast, and he finally gets this part, and he's trying to get to this big show, but he can't because the bus that he's supposed to be on to get there gets a flat tire. So he like runs and rents a car and is driving to this show, and he winds up getting in a car crash in a scene that's kind of harrowing because he's driving and he's on the phone. He's like, I'm gonna make it, and just off to his side out of nowhere, you just see this car come out of nowhere and smack him, and he gets in a car crash, and he gets out of the car crash, and he's like, yeah, I don't want to hang around. I have a big show I have to make it to, and he runs and he finally makes it to the show, and oh, sorry, I should mention, he gets there first, and he gets there and he doesn't have his drumsticks. And J.K. Simmons is like, if you don't get back here with your drumsticks, you don't get to go on stage. So that's when he winds up in the car crash. And he finally gets there, and he's all bloody and broken up from being in the car crash. So he like fails at doing the performance. And J.K. Simmons embarrasses him on stage, and he's basically like, fuck you. And he freaks out and starts beating the crap out of J.K. Simmons. And it gets him kicked out of school. And so then it turns out that the guy who J.K. Simmons had said had died earlier actually ended himself because because he was super paranoid and he had PTSD, and they say it's because of the way J.K. Simmons was yelling at him because he probably threw a chair at his head.
Okay.
And so then J.K.
All right.
Simmons ends up getting fired as a result, and then flash forward to like a couple weeks, months later, whatever, and he runs into Miles Teller again, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm doing a music with another band. You know all the music I'm gonna do. Do you want to come do it?" And he's like, "Yeah, sure." And he thinks this is his big moment. And right as he's about to go on stage, J.K. Simmons is like, "I know it was you who got me fired, you piece of shit. Fuck you," basically, and like cues him up to play the wrong song and like tries to embarrass him. And then he plays the one song, Whiplash, which the movie is named after, really, really well. And the message of the movie, or the theme of the movie, seems to be that like hard work is all worth it in the end when you get the big applause. It's like, oh yeah, no, him treating him like shit was a good thing because ultimately it worked. Look how good he was. Look at all the applause he got. And
it was effective.
Right, yeah, his method of teaching was effective, and he wasn't a horrid, like, abusive monster. And it wasn't bad. Like, unless I'm massively misreading this movie, which, hey, is completely possible. But that just seems to be the message of the movie. Like, oh yeah, no. What J.K. Simmons, he was him trying to impress him at the expense of his own physical well-being and mental health. That's fine, so long as he gets the big applause at the end.
Oh, I mean, that's what people like J.K. Simmons get paid to do. They get paid to abuse you and make you better, Justin.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know, man.
It all works out. The budget will balance itself.
And the budget will balance itself. That's it. That's Whiplash. It's really good. J.K. Simmons' performance is like... It's probably the only good Miles Teller movie. He's otherwise, I don't think, been in anything very good. And yeah, J.K. Simmons deserved that Oscar.
Depends on what you define as good, I suppose.
This was the first first year I really started to pay attention to the Oscars year to year. So like I actually watched this when it came out, and I liked it then. I like it now.
Yeah, I don't generally pay attention to the Oscars because
You do now, bitch. What's your next movie?
So, my next movie. Fun fact about this movie, which I never knew, was it's one which was based on a movie in 1949 which has the same name, Mighty Joe Young.
Oh yeah, I knew that. It's you think it's always just a King Kong knockoff. It's like, oh no. I think the original is more closely related to King Kong. Like I don't think this.
So from what I'm reading in the original one, Joe is not nearly as big.
No. It's not.
So
the original's like completely different, I think, to my recollection.
I would have to actually open it and look at it, but probably. All I know is that in this one, yeah, it's very similar. There's a lot of similar themes to King Kong, where pretty girl brings gigantic gorilla. Sorry, to. Instead of it being New York, it's California, I think. And basically in this one, though, she's trying to stop poachers and hunters from hunting him, so she brings him there to a reservation or whatever where he's protected. And then turns out gigantic gorilla doesn't do well there. And then she wants to bring him back to his home, and then there's this poacher who had been hunting him when he was a kid, and now he's back, and
it's real dramatic. Isn't Bill Paxton in this movie? I feel like he's the love interest, isn't he?
Bill Paxton is in this, and I believe he is the love interest.
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure he's the love interest.
Acting against Charlize Theron.
Oh yeah, right. I knew it was a blonde. I completely forgot it was Charlize Theron was in this. It's like it's a blonde chick.
And then the rest of the names are all ones which I don't think.
It's a real emotionally manipulative, gets real sappy towards the end kind of movie.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's a point where you think Joe's, dead, and then you find out that he's not, and he survived, and then they fund the Mighty Joe Young preservation something yada yada yada, and he lives there, and This movie did not do well. It was a flop, Justin.
It was a flop.
So
I do
it
recall
had a
that.
budget. It had a budget of 90 million. Do you want to guess?
30
Do
million.
you want to? Ooh, no, it did a little bit better than that.
60 million.
Nope, it did 50.6 million US.
Second guess was closer.
Yeah, it. So as I was watching it, it was like it was fine. Like I like Joe. He's fun. But I can see why it flopped. It was kind of boring.
Yeah, I remember liking it as a kid. That's all I do remember it. I remember the commercials for it.
Like it's one of those.
I think it was a Disney
I
movie.
like
And they
it.
really marketed it hard.
Yeah, like it's one of those. I like it because it has a gorilla. I like gorillas.
I like big gorilla movie.
Other than that, it was just kind of meh.
It was indeed
kind
of meh.
I don't. I don't have a lot more to say about this one.
Come on, wake up. Wake up. Okay.
But as for what Oscar it would have been nominated for, I'm guessing
Fight against visual
animation
effects. Yeah,
or costume.
I say probably visual effects for the gorilla.
That would be my guess.
Yeah, if I had to guess, probably it's visual effects for that gosh darn gorilla. Jordan.
Academy Award nomination for Best Visual Effect. Yeah. It lost to What Dreams May Come.
Oh yeah, I can see that. That's also a good movie. Jordan.
So that's Mighty Joe Young.
Mighty Joe Young. Okay, let's see. Which one should we want to do first? Okay. You know what? Let's start with Being John Malkovich. Being John Malkovich, Jordan. Now, in order to explain Being John Malkovich, you're going to have to bear with me. It gets kind of weird. So, have you seen Being John Malkovich?
No, but I know the name.
I could have sworn I made you watch this once, but...
You might have, but if you did, it's not one that I remember.
Okay. So, Being John Malkovich is about John Schwartz. John Schwartz. I forget his actual name. Played by... Oh my god. What is his name? Shit. I do this every time. Hold on. It's gonna come back to me as I pull it up. It's not coming back to me. John Cusack. It stars Craig Schwartz, played by John Cusack, who is a puppeteer, unemployed puppeteer. His girlfriend, Lottie, played by Cameron Diaz, wants him to get a job. She really likes animals. She has a bunch of animals around the apartment. So she convinces him to get a job at this middle floor, basically. It's like the floor between, I can't remember which floors, the 11th and 12th floor? Something like that. And he gets this temp job being a filer. He's really good at filing, so he files. And at this job, in his office, he discovers a little door. And in that little door is a portal into the mind of John Malkovich.
Okay.
So you go through this portal, and you see through the eyes of John Malkovich.
And what do we see through the eyes of John Malkovich?
Whatever John Malkovich sees.
No, but I mean in the movie. Like, what happens in the movie?
You see through the eyes of John Malkovich.
That's the entire movie? It's just you seeing through his eyes?
I see. So he discovers this portal, he goes in it, and in the meantime, he has developed a attraction and a crush on a coworker named Maxine. But Maxine makes it very clear up front that she is not attracted to Craig. She does not want to be with Craig whatsoever. And so he tells Maxine about this portal, and him and Maxine decide to create a service in which a business in which you go into the mind like an amusement park ride. You can go into the mind of John Malkovich. And so he tells the wife about it, and the wife...
Does John Malkovich know that people are going into his head?
Not at first. And so he tells the wife about this portal and John Malkovich. She goes through the portal into the mind of John Malkovich, and whilst in the mind of John Malkovich, discovers that she is in fact transsexual, and that she wants to be a man. More specifically, she wants to be John Malkovich. And so Maxine basically calls John Malkovich and begins to date John Malkovich and sleeps with John Malkovich while Lottie, the wife, is inside John Malkovich.
This sounds weird. That sounds weird. That's a weird thing.
And so, in order to convince,
So, like, when she's in his brain, she takes over him?
no, she just experiences
She's
what he experiences.
okay. So she's a passenger.
Yeah, she's a passenger.
Okay.
And so Craig, convinces, or basically she falls in love with Lottie, but Lottie is only attracted to Maxine when Lottie is inside John Malkovich. She is otherwise not attracted to Lottie.
But she's not attracted to Lottie because Lottie's not in control of John Malkovich at all.
So she's only attracted to Lottie as like a lesbian thing when she's inside John Malkovich.
I guess this hurts my brain. This sounds convoluted.
And so it's funny because I'm making it sounds more It's not. It is, but not as convoluted as I'm making it sound. And so so Craig is jealous of the fact that Maxine only likes Lottie and doesn't like him. So he kidnaps and puts her in a cage, the wife, and convinces her to get Maxine to meet up with the Malkovich, and he goes inside Malkovich instead and sleeps with Lottie. He discovers while doing this, because he's a puppeteer, that he can control John Malkovich.
Okay.
And so he decides that he's going to stay in John Malkovich and Jordan. This is where it gets complicated.
It already is, but okay.
That's where you're supposed to be like, this is where it gets complicated?
And we've already passed that point, but continue.
So, the building that Craig Schwartz works for was founded by a man called Captain...
I'm really hoping there won't be a test at the end of this.
There will not be a test. But it was created by a guy named Captain Merton. And so it turns out that... Okay, no, let's go back. So, Craig takes over John Malkovich and realizes he can control him. And Maxine is attracted to this. So she's now attracted to Craig so long as he's in John Malkovich. And so they stay in John Malkovich, and Craig essentially transforms John Malkovich's entire career. So instead of being an actor, he's now a world-famous puppeteer with this revolutionary puppeteering technique that makes the puppets look super alive and like fluid and motion. And so he's now super rich and famous as John Malkovich as a puppeteer instead of an actor.
What is this movie? I don't have words.
And so Lottie, who is upset that Maxine has chosen Craig over her, goes to Lester, the boss, Craig's boss, who is revealed to be Captain Merton. And what it turns out is when he first arrived to America way back in the day, he's like 100 years old or whatever, he discovered this portal that basically allowed him to live forever by traveling to this host person. And so Captain Lester...
And is it always the same person, or does he control...
Yeah, so it turns out that this host person ripens... Like, I'm going to... What's the actual age? I want to say 39, but it might be 49. Hold on. They become ripe, essentially. 44, and then that's what it is.
And then he can make a portal into their head.
Well, once they're on their 44th birthday, the host person is at their most ripe. So that's the moment where you can go inside of them and take over them permanently. At least that's what happens with this Lester guy. He's done that with all of these hosts before that. He takes over them. But if you don't go into the body before the 44th birthday, or after the 44th birthday, if you go into the body, you get bounced into the new host, and you get trapped inside them. And so this
sounds very convoluted, and I'm having a hard time following it.
And so then this guy, he has decided that this time when he goes into the new host, he's realized that he can take people with him because he's lonely inside Lester. So he takes a big group of old people to go into Lester. He's offered Lottie and Maxine the opportunity to go into Lester into Malkovich if they want to, but they can't because Craig is inside Malkovich controlling Malkovich. And if they go into Malkovich with Craig in there, he'll just, because he's so powerful, because he can just because he's a puppeteer, he can control Malkovich whenever he wants. He'll just bury the rest of them, and it won't. So they need him to leave. So they kidnap the wife in order to convince Craig to leave, and they eventually do. And once he leaves Malkovich, Maxine is no longer interested in him. And towards the latter of the movie, while he's still in it, after she has become pregnant, she's become more and more distant with him. And all of them go inside Malkovich. All of these old people go inside Malkovich and take over him after.
And does Malkovich have a say in this,
No.
or is he just?
Oh, I skipped over a part. I forgot to mention. You asked if Malkovich ever found out about this. Yes.
Yeah.
There's a point where he does discover this, and he goes through the portal. And when he goes through the portal, he gets teleported into a world where everyone is John Malkovich, and they can only say John Malkovich. No, they can only say Malkovich. And then he pops out of the portal, and he goes to Craig, and he's like, "Yeah, if you don't shut this down, I will fucking sue you."
I have no words.
And so at the end of it, Craig leaves. Malkovich gets popped out, and he sees the two women who have gone through John Malkovich's like psyche, and they've come out the back end, and they're like reconciling. And it turns out that Maxine is pregnant. She got pregnant when Lottie was in Malkovich, so the baby is technically Lottie's.
Is it?
It's what she says. It's technically like it's yours. And so then Craig, he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna go back into Malkovich and I'm gonna kick those other guys out, and I'm gonna make you love me again." So he tries to go back into Malkovich, but because he doesn't know about the 44th birthday thing, so he winds up trapped inside the daughter, forever just looking on at them being in love.
Okay.
And it's a very odd movie because like Craig is clearly awful and he's the bad guy, right? Because for a huge chunk of the movie, he's just keeping.
I would argue that every character in that movie that isn't John Malkovich is the bad guy.
That's what I was gonna say. Like it's really kind of upsetting. Like they all seem evil.
Like they're all taking this poor person's body without his consent or approval.
Right? And it's like there's a bit where they all climb inside of him, and it's kind of upsetting as he's like being taken over, and like the last vestiges of his will are slowly disappearing. And then the final scene in the movie. No, sorry, the final scene in the movie is him looking on.
So like when they take control of John Malkovich, is John Malkovich still like aware? Is he trapped? Is he a Yerk victim who is trapped behind his own eyes and can do nothing while this other person rides him like a meat puppet? Or is he like subdued inside and he has no idea what's happening?
Initially he does he is aware that something's going on, but once he's fully taken over, I don't know. I honestly don't know.
It sounds like okay. Final question: is this a horror movie?
It's a dark comedy, I would say.
Because it sounds like a horrific movie.
It's honestly a really good movie, and I full bore recommend it. I think it won a bunch of Oscars. I think it might have won Best Picture. I think John Malkovich, it made him famous. It's like the movie that made him famous. And the funny bit at the end, one of the final scenes is Charlie Sheen is in this movie as himself. He's friends with John Malkovich, and the movie ends with so the mechanics of it do get kind of confusing because the daughter of John Malkovich, she's the next vessel, and so one of the final scenes in the movie is Lester as John Malkovich. Now John Malkovich now looks like Lester, like he has the same hairstyle, the same like costume, the same outfit or whatever. He's now going to John Malkovich or down to Charlie Sheen. Oh, also earlier in the movie, there's a bit where Lester's like, "Yeah, I'm really into this secretary, and if I was younger, I would totally go for her." So then at the end of the movie, where he's now John Malkovich, he's now married to that woman and now looks like Lester. And he's going to Charlie Sheen and is like, "Oh yeah, here's the new vessel," and is explaining the mechanics of how this works. So like when this woman becomes ripe, as it were, becomes 44.
Please don't say it like that.
When she turns 44, and new John Malkovich, this colony of people inside of John Malkovich, go into her as John Malkovich and Charlie Sheen, or however many people they get. Is it like a suit inside? Is like one of those like Russian nesting dolls, or it's like a person inside a person? How does it work at that point?
I have no words. I have no words.
But those no, but good movie, solid movie.
What you've described does not make it sound that way. It
I
makes it
don't-
sound it makes it sound convoluted and confusing.
I mean, it's not. The mechanics of it are basic enough in the movie that, and it unveils it. I've unveiled it very quickly. These reveals are done very slowly, like onion style. That's gonna be funny later. Where it slowly peels away, and it makes sense when you're watching it. I've done it for comedy. I've explained it in the most convoluted way, but it makes sense when you're watching it.
So it's like a cake where it has layers.
Yes, it's like a cake with layers. Yes.
No, Justin, that's where you're supposed to say no. It's like an onion where it has different. And we were doing a Shrek thing.
We're not at Shrek yet, though. It's too.
But
soon.
we were doing a Shrek joke.
That's being John Malkovich. You would like it. I know I've made it sound like you wouldn't like it, but you would like it. I'm positive I've made you watch it before.
Doesn't sound familiar at all.
I've certainly recommended it. I certainly definitely feel like I've recommended it.
That's possible, but I don't think I've watched it.
If it were on anything, I had to get this. It's not on any streaming sites that I could see. I would recommend it. At least I don't think I watched it on streaming. Anyway, that was being John Malkovich. What's your next one?
My next one is
it Borat?
No, Tropic Thunder.
Tropic Thunder. Yeah, that one won for makeup. I guarantee you it won for makeup.
I would definitely believe it. Because of RDJ.
It is blackface.
Yep, which is always funny to me how people are like, "Oh yeah, like he did blackface in it. It was so bad." And it's like, "No, that's the point. The point is supposed to be that he's so deluded and lost in the role that he thinks it's okay to do this." And it's like, "No, it's not. That's the point."
Yeah, that's the joke. The joke is that it's not okay that he's taking.
It's not okay that he's doing it.
Guys like that suck, and they take it too far. Like that's the gag.
That's the joke. This movie's great, and it's funny because I remember when I first watched it. Literally the next day, the rating on it went up, and I could no longer watch it on my own.
Yeah, for our American audience. Our ratings board is different, and yeah, when this movie first came out, it was 14A, and then they bumped it up to an 18A because it's really violent.
Well, I mean, I assume it wasn't just because of the violence, but drugs and other things that are in it,
and
but
various other things.
Yeah, no, this movie has Jack Black, Ben Stiller, Robert Downey Jr., Jay Baruchel, Brandon T. Jackson. They're all dropped in a Vietnam jungle so that they can really get into the role, and then crazy hijinks ensue.
It's making fun of the making of. I think it's making fun of the making of Apocalypse Now, where it's like, yeah, everyone like got real sick making it, and yeah, it's just harrowing movie. It's really good, directed by Ben Stiller. The parody commercials at the beginning are very funny.
And apparently, in the Times,
Tom Cruise as Les Grossman is fucking phenomenal.
Oh yeah. In the times leading up to when this movie came out, there were parody websites and stuff as well that had been made, which have since been taken down. But one of them was for Simple Jack. Hold on, there's a list here. Let me go down to it. Faux websites and mockumentary. There was a website for Simple Jack, which did not go. It was removed by DreamWorks on August 4th, 2008, due to protests from disability advocates.
Yeah. What were you thinking?
There was promotional websites for Make Pretty Skin Clinic, which is the the company that did the surgery on Robert Downey Jr.'s character.
That's funny. My favorite is the.
There's one for Booty Sweat.
The monk The him and Tobey Maguire's The Monks. That was funny.
In mid-July 2008, there was a faux trailer for the mockumentary Reign of Madness, which was a parody of Hearts of Darkness,
Yep.
a filmmaker's apocalypse. What else? What other ones did they have? They included a movie poster, an official website for that mockumentary. Apparently, the mockumentary was released on the iTunes Store
Nice.
after the film's release, and it was released on the home video release.
Nice.
Yeah, it was great. It's funny movie. And in terms of the box office, it had a budget of $92 million, and it made $195.7 million.
Yeah, it was very.
So it did very well. I'm actually kind of surprised that there was never a second one.
It's just always funny when you get those bullshit technical awards where you could be like, it's technically an Oscar nominated movie, and that's where you're kind of like, yeah, the Oscars are kind of bullshit. Because do I think this is an Oscar worthy movie? No, not
really. No.
It's
not
slop.
Even a little bit.
It's good slop.
It's fun.
Yeah, it's fun slop.
Do I think that it should have won an Oscar? No.
I certainly don't think. Assuming it didn't get nominated for makeup, I certainly don't think having an Oscar nomination for blackface is probably the best thing in the world.
Yeah,
not 2008. It's too late for that.
The two big controversies that this movie had were obviously Robert Downey Jr. and Simple Jack. Simple Jack was a choice.
The thing was a choice. That's the joke of those characters.
Justin, you never go full.
We can't say it. We can't say it.
You never go full.
We can't say it. We can't say it. We're not gonna say it. No, we're not gonna say it. No, we're not going. I'm shutting that down right now. No, not doing it.
You never go full.
No, not doing it.
Rain Man.
Yeah, you never go full Rain Man. Yeah, but to be fair, that's the joke of those characters. Is they're supposed to be too far. Like that's the bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's supposed to be like that destroyed his career. That's the joke. Like it's like,
and then there's Jack Black, who's like, he wants to be more than just the funny man.
Right. Struck the shot.
Yeah, this movie's great.
It's great. It's a great movie. Jordan, is that it? Is that Tropic Thunder?
That is it.
So, Jordan, let's go back to Shrek. We talked about Shrek 5.
Hey now, you're an all-star.
Get your game on.
Go play.
That little... Well, see, what's happened is when you are watching this on YouTube later, you saw the Shrek 5 bit, and now we're jumping back into the Shrek. We're going back to Shrek. And the thing is, like, everyone... I alluded to this earlier. Everyone talked about how the original Shrek looked better. It was better animated, they said. And I need you all to take off your rose-colored nostalgia goggles off for a minute. And I need you to go back and watch Shrek because that movie looked dated. That movie looked real dated. It looks real dated. I don't like saying it looks like shit now, but it looks old. Like Shrek.
No, it looks like it was made in 2001 or whatever it was.
Yeah, okay, that movie came out in 2001, and it looks it. Much like Pixar, DreamWorks could not animate people to save their lives.
Well, that's where
their people look like horrifying monstrosities.
That's where I think people's statement, what they're saying, is not what they're meaning.
Right.
It's not the animation. There's a style which this new one is just dropping.
Well, I say that it's just kind of starting to look dated and good for it. I'd say the same thing about Toy Story. It does look dated. They could not animate people. Like, their people look like horrifying skeleton people. Like, it also, like, did that thing where we get... If you hate stunt casting of celebrities, this is where it started. I'm not going to recap the plot of Shrek. You've all seen Shrek. Okay, I said my critical thing. Now I'm gonna be like, I fucking love Shrek. It's one of my all-time favorite movies. I first watched it. I looked this up. It came out in April of 2001. So I watched this movie when I was 10 years old. I watched it in the theaters. I thought it was hilarious then. I still
You
think it's funny now.
you would have been 11. I would have been 10 in 2001.
April 2001. Think about it. Do the math. My birthday's in June.
Right. Okay. Yeah. No, that checks out.
You would have been 9. I would have been 10. And I love this movie. I love somebody. I can quote it pretty much word for word. I can do like scenes from it. Like I don't know if you've seen that TikTok trend where like someone puts up the laptop of the movie and they just say I could do that. I think this movie's hilarious. I still think the needle drops are good, like the musical breaks. It's one of my favorite versions of Hallelujah. Yeah, it's just a ton of fun. It's paced so well. It's like the correct length, where it's an hour 25 and it moves at a clip. It works so well. The jokes are still funny. Some of the pop culture references are dated. That's why when you're like, oh, it's cringy that
The TikTok stuff.
yeah, that you've got dancing Shrek in there, which I thought was funny. But you're like, oh, that makes me cringe. But like in the original movie, there's a Matrix joke. So like,
I mean, no, I feel like I need to be clear. I think all of the at this point,
they're all
as
dated.
a 32, how old am I? 32-year-old.
Pretty sure you're 30. No, you're 32. Yeah, you're 32. No, you're 33. I'm pretty sure you're 33.
No, I'm 32. You're 33.
I'm 34.
Anyways, however old I am, at this point in my life, I think all of the Shrek movies are cringy.
I mean, yeah, that's part of their appeal.
Yeah, but I think they're so. Yeah, I just in every movie where they do TikTok stuff or social media stuff, it makes me cringe because I hate that stuff.
Yeah, well, it just dates the movie.
That too.
So yeah, real bad pop culture references. So a lot of the pop culture references in the earlier movies are also dated. Like so, like yeah, it's just what this franchise is known for. It's funny though. When I was watching it, the bit with Robin Hood and his merry men. I'm like, man, the musical really missed this bit. Also, there's just dark jokes that I didn't pick up on as a kid, like when she kills the bird, and then the next scene is she's eating their eggs. She's cooking their bird's eggs.
Yeah. You never picked up on that?
No, I miss little jokes like that, and the one that made me feel kind of stupid. And like, I knew that Farquaad was Michael Eisner. Like that's the joke, is he's Michael Eisner. That's why he's short. That's why his name is Farquaad. Fuckwad. But for whatever reason, this was the first time where I put it together that Duloc was Disneyland.
Yeah, I just always thought it was supposed to be making fun of like theme parks in general.
Yeah,
I wouldn't have got that.
I know. I'm like, oh right, no, this is specifically Disneyland, and the Welcome to Duloc is It's a Small World, and I'm like, oh my god, how did I not pick up on this? And I'm like, this made me feel dumb.
Especially because it's in Duloc, which is a castle, Disney castle.
Right,
you know.
Right. I'm like, oh yeah, I know. And I knew that Farquaad is supposed to be Michael Eisner. Like I even knowing that, I just never put that together. Also, like, it yields one of my all-time favorite Shrek things, which I'm also going to mention here as a co-pick, which is if you like Shrek, I highly recommend Shrek Retold. It's on YouTube, and it's like over 200 artists and YouTubers and whatever took like not they said scenes, but it's not always scenes because some of the scenes it changes moment to moment, but they all take a bit of Shrek and they do something with it. And like, not all of them are good, not all of them are particularly great, but some of them are really funny, and some of them I would legit watch an entire. So like, have you seen the SpongeBob anime?
No.
I'll have to show it to you. There's a YouTube video where it's like, what if SpongeBob were an anime, and it's genuinely really good. But the guy who did that, he does the bit where where Shrek first meets Farquaad and he fights all the guards.
Sure. Yes.
You know, the scene with the Bad Reputation playing. Yeah.
Yeah.
In Shrek Retold, they do it as an anime.
Okay.
So it's Shrek. So it's a big anime Dragon Ball Z style fight, It's really funny. And then the bit, the bit.
Yeah, I believe you. I believe you've shown me bits and pieces of it
Yeah.
before.
And then the bit where it's when Donkey first finds out that Fiona's an ogre, and they do it as like a kind of like an indie drama. And it's really really good. And it's as simple as one of the bits, like the bit where the dragon is chasing after Shrek and they wrap it around the thing. It's just a guy in a dinosaur mask with like a rope attached to him running away from his dogs. Like it's genuinely, some of it's genuinely really funny. Some of it's cringy. Some of it's not very good. But like as a pure expression of creativity and being like how do I take like something and do my own thing with it. And like sometimes they do the dialogue from the movie, other times they do their own like dialogue that's like different from the movie, and it's like how is each of these artists interpreting this material? It's really good, especially if you like Shrek. And if you're just like, I like art and I like creative expression, I totally recommend it. It's on YouTube. It's really good. Especially if you like Shrek. And if you like Shrek, if you're a fan of Shrek the meme, it's worth watching. It's, like I say, it's an hour and 25. It's not that long. Totally worth watching. But yeah, the new Shrek looks fine, guys. I don't know what to tell you. Like, it looks fine. It's gonna be.
I get the apprehension. I would say hold on to it until after like the first or second trailer.
Exactly.
Like if it still looks bad at that point, okay, then raise the red flag.
I think the strength in Shrek.
But for now, we have like 27 seconds. You can at worst you can put up a yellow flag.
Right.
Like there's cause for concern, but they have time to course correct.
To me, the strength in these movies has always been in their writing. To me, all of these movies are funny. Like there's always at least one joke in these movies that are funny. And like, this movie's hilarious.
Yeah.
It's still good. It holds up in its humor.
I would agree with that. The only reason why the Shrek 5 thing frustrates me is because, they had a DreamWorks opening where they had. I remember when I saw it the first time, and I was like, "Oh my god, it's Shrek, Fiona, and like they looked right." And it's like people just want that.
Yeah,
that's what people want.
That's it, Jordan. That's Shrek. That's Shrek. Shrek. We had a Shrek.
And that is all the have scenes. So now we move on to the have not scenes, where we talk about things that have actually been nominated for Oscars this year.
Now we're talking the Oscars this year, and let me tell you, I have some predictions. I thought about maybe doing we do a rundown of the categories and we take a guess. Man, maybe we will do that because I think it might be fun. No, because that'll just take too long if we do it that way. We're gonna take some swipes at guessing on at least these movies on whether or not we think they might win. I guess is how I would put it. Jordan,
okay.
What's your first one?
My first one is Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes,
I've seen that movie. Let me guess, it's up for best special effects.
I think so. I was just trying to look.
This one, let's actually figure out what they're nominated for.
On its Wikipedia, it doesn't. I don't see.
I mean, we'll just pull up we'll pull up the categories. I can pull it up. Hold on. I suspect it is because there's no way.
I'm guessing that it's for the apes.
For the apes.
Would be my guess.
But
you mean for the while you look that up, I'll just talk about the movie itself and my thoughts and feelings.
I've seen it. I liked it. I've talked about it on here before.
It's fine. I mean, it's Planet of the Apes, and I always just kind of enjoy them.
Yeah, these movies are always good.
It's a little dry at times, but that's kind of just par for the course with Planet of the Apes.
It's visual effects. So
visual effects, yeah, okay.
It's funny. This is actually these categories are kind of funny. So it's up against Alien Romulus, Better Man, Dune Part 2, and Wicked. And right out the bat, it's got better special effects than the Wicked. Sorry, Haley. Sorry. It just does. It just does. I'm sorry.
I would say that it has better special effects than Alien Romulus.
I would agree. I mean, Alien Romulus' special effects are good, but
they're good.
Those apes are
but
believable, man.
Yeah, these apes look like they could be real.
My thing, the reason why I'm kind of inclined to give it to apes, I'm torn between. It's funny. I haven't seen Better Man. I think apes because Jake.
I don't know what that is.
That's the one where it's Robbie Williams. He's a musician. It's a biopic, but he's a monkey. I've told you about it before. We've talked about it on the show before. It's a biopic.
I mean, this has multiple monkeys. That has one.
Well, that's the thing is Jake and I think it's based on the trailer. He said that it looks like a model from Planet of the Apes. So like, if your comparison is to say it looks like Planet of the Apes, then you got to give it to Planet of the Apes. And my other thing is these movies are kind of uncanny valley because like the one orangutan, I was like, I recognize him, and I couldn't figure out why. And like he looks familiar, and then I looked it up, and he's Bortus.
Oh, that's funny.
And the main bad guy.
I wouldn't have got that at all.
The main bad guy I recognize as well. I mean, you won't know him by actually he was Little John in Russell Crowe Robin Hood movie. The main bad guy, Proximus. He's Kevin Durant.
Oh, interesting.
And so I was like, I recognize him. It looks like him, and it was like a sort of borderline. It wasn't quite uncanny valley, but it was borderline enough to be like the fact that we're like managing to make these look like the actors while they still look like apes is impressive. Like it's impressive.
Just in terms of the story, though, I found the story a little bit boring.
Yeah, I mean, I remember saying it's like, hey, if you watch the other Planet of the Apes movies and you were like, there isn't nearly there's entirely too much humans in this in this Planet of the Apes movie, then that you'll get that this movie is almost entirely ape.
This is more like the first one where you have like 2 or 3 humans and the rest of them are apes.
Pretty much. My thing was I found it and maybe you'll agree with me now that you've seen it. I found the fact that they didn't have formulated English and they were still speaking via sign language to be unbelievable. Like based upon the distance from when they took over.
But it only seems to be his clan which does that. Like the orangutan spoke in perfect English.
True, but that's because he was stealing.
And so did. Well, but that's my point. Is the ones who chose to educate themselves were more educated. The ones who, and this was the point of the story, his clan was specifically hiding from the truths of the world.
Right, but also like they still were doing that thing where they talk like I'm talking like regular.
Again, but the rest of the apes were talking normal. It was only his. Yes, they were.
Proximus still talked like this. It was still stunted.
No,
like this.
He didn't.
It was
not nearly in the same way as the guy.
No,
as
not
the
as
main
badly.
guys
Not
do.
as badly, but he still did. Like I'm talking like the way William H. Macy does, or like a human. Like he wasn't talking like he was still talking like an ape.
But that's the point. The point is that they're not human, so they have to distinguish and differentiate that in some way.
But I'm just saying, I found it like as an evolving. I found it unbelievable. That's where my suspension.
I do, but I don't, because for all we know in this world, their vocal cords don't allow for that.
I guess I don't know.
I mean, I was more just finding it unbelievable that they didn't have that they haven't already found human technology.
That is also true. My other thing with it, as I recall, is like it's unclear as to because what the human girl wants is effectively a genocide, right? Because she wants to take over the world. And eradicate society.
She wants to eradicate all the smart apes, make it so humans are in charge again. She would essentially, if you've ever seen the movie that I've talked about on here before, the Origin, the Spirits of the Past, where girl from the past wakes up in the future and wants to make the future like the past.
Yeah,
that's what this is.
The movie is.
She wants to make it so that humans are in charge again, and she's willing to do whatever it takes.
Right, but the movie is unclear as to whether or not she's the. Like, it wants you to think she's a good guy, and he treats her as though she's a good guy, but, like, she's not a good guy. Like, she's the bad guy.
Well, it's supposed to be like, he wants to believe that there's a world where humans and apes can coexist.
Yeah, she's like, nah, dog.
Because that's the lessons that Caesar taught. Like, that's what, like, all the apes are supposed to believe. And she doesn't believe that it's possible, but it's supposed to imply that, like, by the end, she's like maybe. Like
To be
maybe it
fair, it's
can.
been a minute since I've seen this, but from what I recall, she was just like, "Nah, dog, I want to take over the world, and you're in the way. And when it comes down to it, I will murder your smart ape ass."
Kind of. Again, it's supposed to imply at the end.
Not having been
Here,
said, I would also.
Noah and May question whether apes and humans can coexist peacefully. As Noah takes Suna to look through a telescope he found on his journey, May travels to an intelligent human settlement at a satellite base. May delivers the decryption key, allowing them to reactivate satellites and successfully contact other intelligent humans worldwide. So it's not. It doesn't, in the end, specifically say that she's looking to genocide everyone, but she wants humans to be reconnected. And like the question is going to be in the next one: are we going to time jump to where they do live like in existence, or is it going to be like there's a secret colony of smart humans who are rising up a rebellion, and we're going to have another war for the planet of the apes?
Who's to say? Who's to say? Jordan.
That's the question of what the next one's going to be.
Jordan, is that it for Planet of the Apes?
It's fine.
It's
It's fine.
fine.
It's one where I had fun with it and I enjoyed it, but I'm glad I watched it at home.
Yeah, I'm never gonna have a bad time with those movies. And kind of same.
I more just mean like I don't think I would have enjoyed it as much had I paid to watch it in theaters.
That's so hard to say. It's really, really
It's hard to say, but
Um,
yeah, that's Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, baby.
Okay, it's time for the moment. If Haley's hanging around, I don't know if she is. It's the moment you've been waiting for. I'm going to talk about Wicked.
You're gonna be popular.
And
Popular.
I'm gonna defy some gravity, and I'm gonna talk about Wicked. Okay, Wicked.
Well, something has changed within you.
So here's the thing, right? Okay, so for me, where to begin with this? Okay, I guess we'll begin with I like this movie, and there's scenes in this movie that are effective, and I enjoyed them, and I like most of the music. I think that I also believe it's too long. And Haley is going to disagree with me on this. I'm sure at some point I will receive an angry comment from her telling me I'm wrong. I think your willingness to change this movie is going to depend on your attachment to it. So I don't have a massive attachment to this movie, to anything in it. So like if you really love the original, you're going to be like, in adaptation, I don't want to see any of this disappear. I want every song to be in this 100% faithfully. And I'm like, to be fair, I've been calling this movie a 3-hour movie. It is not a 3-hour movie. It's like a 2.5-hour movie. Google says it's 2 hour 40, but it's 2 hour 30 with credits. And I think this could be cut to 2 hours, maybe 2:15, 2:10, because there's 2 songs in this. There's the song she sings about how she has a. Okay, here's the thing. This movie and its sequel are one story. And so it feels that way to me. It feels like stuff that feels unnecessary in this movie will pay off in the next movie, so you can't cut it, because if you cut it here, it won't make sense in the next movie. But it fundamentally doesn't add anything to this movie. Like, Elphaba has a love interest that she never gets together with. So her song about how she's into him, you could cut and it wouldn't really take anything away. Or he has a song that kind of goes on forever and you could also cut. The only real use is that they do a reprise, and that's where her and Glinda and Alpha become friends. That's it. Otherwise, you could maybe shorten it or make it, or just outright cut it. Otherwise, every other song is necessary. They're all the famous ones. But those are the 2 where I'm like, you could cut this. Sorry, so the Jordan, you obviously don't know the plot of Wicked. The plot of Wicked.
I know that it's the Green Witch is at school, and she's getting tormented, and then Glinda is gonna try and make her popular because there's a song about how she's gonna be popular.
Yes. Yes, that's.
And then there's a professor who is an animal, and the students are racist towards him, and it's an allegory for racism.
Yeah, I mean, you've got the broad strokes. No, Elphaba is Elphaba's from Oz, and when the movie opens where they sing a song about her backstory, and her backstory is her mom. She's the daughter of a governor in Oz, a high up political person, and when she was a kid, her mom cheated on her dad with a random traveling salesman, and she was drinking a lot of green potion, a green elixir, and that is implied it's implied that's why Alphaba is green, is because her mom drank this elixir, and so she's born and she's green, and like the lyrics are such that are such in these songs that like they're really, I don't want to say lazy, but there's a bit where you don't see Alphaba, and they say all of these words that rhyme with green, obviously leading up to the moment, to the punchline where they're like, and she's green, and it's just like really like, I don't know, on the nose is the right word, but like,
she's mean. She has a sheen. She likes to lean because she's green.
yeah, not quite like as bad as that, but yeah, that's kind of, yeah. And it made me groan because I was like, this is silly. And yeah, and so it's like I thought that the her being green thing, I thought that was, yeah, an allegory for racism, like for forever. And it's not. It's not really an allegory for racism. Her being green is really more akin to like a physical deformity. Like that's kind of how they treat it. They treat it as though they treat it as though it's a physical deformity, not that like, so like anyone could play Alpha. Clearly, the movie makers kind of wanted you to attribute it to a racial thing, but it doesn't play that way in the story. And so yeah, her sister, is a girl in a wheelchair, and she's gonna go to this school, which like, maybe I missed something, but I wasn't entirely clear what this school is.
Sorry.
Yes.
Back the train up.
Yep.
Magic school.
I don't know. That's what I'm kind of
like. They're there to learn magic.
I don't know. I think so. It's really confusing because it's called Shiz.
But she's the Wicked Witch,
right?
And Glinda the Good Witch.
Okay.
So presumably magic exists in this world. Is my point.
Sorry, I forgot. Yes, it does. Sorry, I forgot a thing. Sorry, hold on.
Okay,
I'll explain.
Let me. So, but magic exists in this world, and we have a girl in a wheelchair.
Yeah. Okay. There's an explanation for that. Kind of. So
Bonicus Fixicus
no, because that's not how magic works in this world. Basically, when Elphaba is a kid, she has this innate magical ability, which kind of manifests in her being able to make things levitate. Is kind of how it works. And so she the sister, and it's not initially revealed why the sister is in a wheelchair, but the sister is the one that wants to go to the school, and the Alphaba is dropping her off, and the dad, who hates Alphaba, is like, you have to watch after the sister. And when she's dropping her off, she accidentally does magic, and the head magic teacher is like, I'll teach you how to do magic if you come to the school. But like, the only other class you ever see them go to is the goat one that you mentioned, which is a history class. But Elphaba, when she's learning magic, only ever learns it from this one teacher in like private study sessions. And later in the movie, when they're on the verge of becoming friends, Elphaba convinces this magic teacher, played by Michelle Yeoh, to also take Glinda on, and she gives Glinda the Good Witch wand, and that's when she starts to learn magic. So I couldn't tell and hey, Haley or Jake, you can explain in the comments, what exactly is Shiz? Like, maybe I missed something. Maybe I looked down at my phone and I missed something. Like, is Shiz itself a magic school, or is it just like a regular university in Oz that also happens to teach magic? I was kind of lost there. I kind of missed that.
Okay.
But Glinda, when she first shows up, Glinda's whole thing in this movie is she's like awful. That's the kind of the gag. Is she's like an awful mean girl who like is just like passive aggressive and mean to everybody. And
but isn't she supposed to be the good witch?
And that's the bit. It's how basically this movie is also how she becomes the good witch, and that's part of the irony. Is Elphaba starts off as a good, like a quote unquote good guy, I love her. She's super fun. She has a really sardonic, like sarcastic sense of humor. That's just really funny. And yeah, Glinda. She starts off with her name's not Glinda. Her name is Gullinda. And she constantly corrects people. My name is Gullinda. Gali Glinda. And she and the goat, played by Peter Dinklage, calls her Galinda, like says her name like a goat, constantly pronounces her name. And she's like, no, my name's Galinda. And yeah, the thing is, like, animals are being treated as second-class citizens. They're being told they're not allowed to speak, like all the animals talk. And that's the thing with this movie, is like 1 minute it's like a movie about these people at the school, and it's a school drama, and then the next minute there's talking animals, and you're like, it was a weird disconnect for me. But yeah, the animals they're the racist discrimination metaphor, where they've been told like they can't speak, and he's a teacher, and he's being told, oh, he's not allowed to teach because he's an animal, and animals are slowly, progressively losing the ability to speak, and something's happening with the animals. And he eventually gets fired and gets physically removed from the school. And so as a way to commemorate him, she changes her name to Glinda. She does, like, she's like, the whole gag is she's super popular and everyone loves her and everyone immediately does what she says. So she does this thing where she really performatively comes out and she's like, in order to do something, or to say something, to make a statement about how I feel about the teacher being fired, I am going to change my name to Glinda. As if she's done this, like,
Big thing,
yeah. And so yeah, Jeff Goldblum is there. He plays the wizard. Eventually, he finds out that Elphaba can do magic, and he invites her to the palace or whatever, and convinces her to basically. He has a spell book, and convinces her to read a spell that very painfully gives these monkeys wings, so they become the flying monkeys, and they're just in constant agony from having wings and constant pain. And in that moment, she realizes that it's the wizard who is controlling the animals, and he's like, oh, in order to be in charge, in order to maintain control and power, where he's from, in order to do that, you have to create conflict. So he's created or manufactured the conflict with the animals in order to control them. And that's what causes her to become the Wicked Witch of the West. So like, she's like, I won't hurt the animals. I will fight you. I'm going to rebel. And the bit in the next half is he's the one who convinces the world that she's wicked and evil, even though he's evil.
Interesting. Interesting.
Yeah, and it's honestly, overall, I really liked it. I really did. The bit where they become friends is honestly really effective. I was like, ooh, this is getting me. It's getting me right in my feelings. And the musical numbers are good. It very much, like, it's a musical that knows how to use the medium of film. Like, you know how we shit all over Dear Evan Hansen for just being like, yeah, the musical number is it's the two of them and they're the only ones dancing. Why are none of the extras dancing? Like this.
Yeah.
This is not that. All of the choreography is great. The musical numbers are great. The music doesn't really overall do anything for me. Still, the only song I really like from it is Defying Gravity, which
what? You don't want to be popular?
No, I wasn't a big fan. I actually, no, that's not true. I like some from the second act. I really like For Good. It's my other favorite one, which wasn't in this movie. And No One Mourns the Wicked. I actually did kind of like that one. But yeah, the rest of them didn't really do anything for me. And also, this movie ruins Defying Gravity. Jake said that was putting it lightly, but it really does. He said that when I did Haley's Wicked podcast. He was like, yeah, it totally ruins that song, which it absolutely does. Because you've listened to Defying Gravity, right?
I've listened to versions of Defying Gravity.
So basically, the full version of it is like 6-ish. And to be fair, it probably plays out slightly longer on stage, but the record, the CD version of it is about 6 minutes long, and it begins with, yeah, she has this falling out with the wizard, and Glinda is like, oh, we need to hear them out. We need to like hear them out on what they have to say. Um, and that's the whole bit. She's like, why did you have to be whatever, fly off the handle and like fight this, you know? And the song is basically her being like, yeah, I'm gonna go be a big evil wicked witch and not care about what anyone has to say, and I'm gonna be free or whatever. And it's broken up by several bits of her, of several kind of duet bits. So the movie decides that song needs to be the entire climax. So it goes from being like a 6-minute song to like a 15-minute sequence where they break up the song in a way that throws off the rhythm.
Oh, that sounds bad.
So like they do the first chunk of the song, and then they have a bunch of dialogue, and there's a bunch of action happening where the guards or whatever are chasing after them, and then they do more of the song, and then you know the bit where she's like it's the bit like it was all over TikTok. It's the big final bit where she's like she does the big final, and if you care to find me, look to the western sky, and then she does the big you know that bit. That gets separated where she's like, oh, it's not her you're looking for, it's me, and then she like jumps off of the thing because she tries to cast. The reason why she gives the monkeys the wings is she casts like a flight spell on them, and that's what gives them the wings. So she tries to cast it on herself, and she ends up casting it on a broomstick because the whole thing is over the course of the movie she more and more starts to look like the Margaret Thatcher movie version of the Wicked Witch of the West. And so she at a certain point gets the hat, and then now she has the broom, and she falls off of a ledge as she's about to do the big thing, and for an additional like 2 to 3 minutes it has her falling and like
in slow motion.
And she looks at the broom, which then the broom looks like her as a kid, and so then I guess the metaphor is that the broom is her childhood innocence, I guess. And then she starts to sing it, and then she goes to do the big, and if you care to find me, and then it breaks it up a third time. So it breaks up the song 3 times. And it's like, yeah, this movie could be 10 minutes shorter if you like cut the climax down by like 5 minutes. It's a climax that goes on forever when the movie's already 2.5 hours long. Like you didn't need to stretch out this song. It could have been like the 6.5 minute with like the break for the guards to chase after them. Like, it could have been, like, significantly short. You didn't need the bit where the broom became her. Like, that was unnecessary. It doesn't add anything to that song, and it ruins the pacing. I can't think of a good comparison. Oh, shoot. What's a good comparison? The only good comparison... No.
The only comparison that I can think of that reminds me of what you're describing is Jasmine.
Kind of, yeah. It's kind of like the Jasmine song, where in the middle of the climax, it just stops so she can sing a song. It's kind of like that. But no, I'm trying to think of like to give you. Okay. Nah, I mean, what's it? Because I was gonna be like, it's kind of like if they broke up Words Fail, but that's what they kind of do in the movie. So, trying to think of a good ending number that would be like, well, they added a big action sequence in the middle of this song. I guess like Who'd I Be from Shrek, if they threw in a big action sequence in the middle of that. Twice.
I understand.
Twice. They did it twice. It's weird. It ruins the pacing of that song. It is otherwise sung very, very well. And when she does the big, it's really powerful. And the ending of it is really effective, and not many movie musicals don't usually end on a musical number, because not usually, because they usually don't. They have to do a big action sequence or a big dramatic moment where they talk, so they don't really get to end on a musical number. So it's kind of cool. And I had this thought, like, if part 1 is the first half and the second part is the second half, would that make this the longest intermission of all time?
Yes, it would.
But like, yeah, it's okay. Like, it's good. I enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty good. Sorry, Haley, it's too long.
So will you be watching the second part in theaters with all the rest of the fangirls?
In theaters, probably not. Generally, yes, I will absolutely watch the second part. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I'm interested to see, genuinely interested to see where this goes. There's characters who, like, I think are going to become the there's one
The
the
Scarecrow
Scarecrow and the Tin Man, I think.
and the Lion.
I don't know about the lion, but though, like, and it's the other funny bit is there's a Munchkin who, and I don't know if it's just because Ariana Grande, because he looks short up against other characters, but up against Ariana Grande, which she must be like 4 foot nothing. He looks really
I think
tall.
she's pretty. Yeah, I think she's pretty short.
She's also phenomenal in this. She's so funny. And the funniest thing about this character, also, it has the best use of the original cast members doing a cameo I have ever seen. Christina Chenoweth and Idina Menzel. They cameo. They sing one of the songs, and like there's a really fun moment where because Christina Chenoweth, she played Glinda, and Idina Menzel played Alphaba. And there's a really good moment where they each stand by them and they each take them off and they like sing the song with them. That's really fun, and it's a really excellent use of them. And it's not like you brought them back and made them play these characters that they're too old to play. It's a really effective use of them in a really fun extended cameo. That's really quite good.
So, according to Google, Ariana Grande is 5'1".
Really, I would have guessed she was 4 foot nothing. Wow, she's not much. I mean, she's definitely like almost a full 4 foot shorter than me, but she's like yeah. Anyway, this character is really funny though because you know who Kristen Chenoweth is, right? Google her. You definitely do. She was on Glee. She was April on Glee.
Clemenson?
No, Christina Chenoweth. Chen. Maybe Kristen Chenoweth. Kristen Chenoweth.
Stupid. You keep talking while I look.
Yeah, the character is like Ariana Grande plays her in such a way that like I'm like I can picture Kristen Chenoweth playing this character. It's so bizarre. But like the first time I was like, yeah, just the way she sings she does this really warbly thing that kind of sounds like I don't know how like operatic almost like warbly kind of thing that Kristen Chenoweth,
her.
yeah, like she sings the way she sings like Christina Chenoweth does in this movie. It was different than how Ariana Grande, because Ariana Grande normally has that really like poppy Beyonce style singing voice, but in this she's doing kind of a more warbly operatic voice. That sounds again like when Kristen Chenoweth sings, she sings like Kristen Chenoweth does, and I thought that was impressive. Cynthia, the woman, I'm bad with her name. Arevo, I'm mispronouncing her name badly, but she's also good, but like she's doing something different than Idina Menzel in a way that worked for me. But overall, I enjoyed it. It was quite good. Jordan, what's your final movie of the week?
My final movie of the week is Wallace and Gromit: Vengeance Most Foul.
I saw actually quickly before we do Wallace and Gromit: Vengeance Most Foul, I should mention. Sorry. I was stalling at the end there because there was one more thing I wanted to say, which is that we have to mention the Oscars this got nominated for, because Haley was indignant. This is like another question for Haley, because she was indignant about that this didn't get nominated for enough Oscars, but I would argue that it got nominated for like the Oscars it should. And there aren't really any other Oscars I would maybe nominate it for, other than maybe giving Ariana Grande like something, but she's not a lead actor. She would maybe she would get lead, but I don't think she's supporting, because this movie is more about her and Alphaba. I would say she's like co-lead at best. So I don't know what you would nominate her for, but anyway, this got nominated for. Sorry.
Are you?
How is this? Okay. Actor in a supporting, acting in a leading. Also, in order to compare it to this, another movie that got nominated for a bunch of Oscars is a movie called Amelia Perez, which I won't go into it because I only watched it I made a video about it. It's very bad. All of the musical numbers are bad. There's a really it's got Selena Gomez in it. It's about a drug dealer who pays a lawyer to help him transition into a woman. And
Okay.
it's a musical. It's very strange. The first 10 minutes of it are in Spanish. All of the dialogue is in Spanish. All of the
Sorry,
music is in Spanish.
did I blank out and we skipped past my
No. Sorry. I have to tell you about. No, we didn't. Because I'm going to compare it to Wicked, and just bear with me for 1 second. It's a very bad movie. It got nominated for like 24 Oscars, and it's baffling. I don't understand how. And so Haley and Jake were very upset that it got nominated for more Oscars. It's okay, I'll put it to you this way. One of the songs, I wasn't paying attention, I'll look back. One of the songs, the lyrics is literally penis into vagina, vagina into penis, just over and over again.
sounds classy.
It's very bad. There's a song where they're not really singing so much as they're just talking, and the only reason you wouldn't know it's a song, except for the fact that the subtitles had musical notes beside them. It was very bizarre. Anyway, Wicked got nominated. Oh no, okay, so Ariana Grande did. She got nominated for Best Actress in Supporting Role. Cynthia Erivo got nominated for Actress in a Leading Role. It did not get nominated for cinematography. It did not get nominated for costume design. It did not get nominated for directing, which, like, I would make and Jake made a similar argument. I would say, like, it's just kind of adapting a pre-existing thing, and there wasn't really anything in. It was a very great much of, like, a lot of it looked like it was shot on green screen sound stages. So I don't think it visually looked all that interesting enough to get him Best Director.
No, to me, it didn't look any more interesting than Oz the Great and Powerful.
Right, which I'm sure Haley would castrate me for saying that. But yeah, it looks like The Wizard of Oz. It got nominated for editing, which I don't necessarily agree with, because, like I said, I think this could be cut and cut by like 10 to 15 minutes. So I don't, but I'm not necessarily for that. It got nominated for Best Makeup, which, yeah, you made her look green. All of the hairstyles look great. And then it got nominated for Original Score, which that makes sense. It didn't get nominated for Best Original Song because there is no original song in that movie. It's all songs from the play or from the musical. They didn't do an original song for this one, so it doesn't get Best Original Song. So I'm like, other than, I guess, maybe Best Director, what else would you give it? It already has all the awards that just kind of make sense.
Is there not a category for Best Musical?
No, not that. Best Score and Best Music are the category for Best Musical. Best Song
Then
and
no.
Best Score.
Then I wouldn't say that there is anything.
You typically not enough musicals come out to, like, warrant that. And yeah, the Amelia Perez got Best Director, and I'm like, nah, there were better movies than this.
I understand.
But yeah, sorry. You know, the thing you said that you were gonna do next before I pedaled back.
Wallace and Gromit, Vengeance Most Foul.
On Netflix, if I'm not mistaken.
It is on Netflix. It is only on Netflix.
I genuinely want to watch that movie because I saw the trailer for it, and I saw the chicken guy was the bad guy, and I was like, oh my god, I recognize that character.
Feathers McGraw.
Yeah,
Feathers McGraw is back for the first time since 1993.
Yeah, it was enough of a like, hey, I know that character. Wow, that's a deep cut for Wallace and Gromit. Good for them.
He's out for revenge on Wallace and Gromit. He turns Wallace's Gromit on the duo, and zaniness ensues.
I saw a clip of the ending, or I think part of the climax, where it looks like Wallace and Gromit actually having an actual like emotional moment where he has like he is an actual character, which is very rare for this franchise.
Kind of a little bit, without giving it away, because you said you wanted to watch it.
I do want to watch it.
I will say, I mean, yeah, it's a nice tight hour and a half, which was a refresher after some of the longer ones I had watched.
Yeah, no kidding.
79 minutes.
Felt that way about Shrek. A similar way about Shrek, where it's like it's a nice tight hour and a half. You know, it's not overly long.
So this one was nominated for Best Animated.
This was. I look that this is like the best animated for me every year. Every year for the past few years has been a tough category for me. Having not seen
What are the nominations for this one?
Wild Robot is definitely one of them. Flow, and I can't remember the name. Hold on, I'm trying to look it up here. Oh,
So
and
Wallace
sorry,
and Gromit,
Wicked. Also, I should mention Best Picture as well. Sorry.
Wallace and Gromit, Wild Robot, Flow,
Yes.
and
I can't remember the last one is. Hold on, can't find it. Can't find it. Where are you, Best Animated? Sorry, bear with me. Come on. There we go. Best Animated. Animated feature film is Flow. Oh, sorry. Flow, Inside Out 2, Memoir of a Snail, Wallace and Gromit, and The Wild Robot.
oh, that's tough.
That's a tough. Flow looks. I was gonna maybe watch Flow instead of the next one I watched. But I was like, oh, we already have enough animated representation here, so.
I liked this one, but I mean, in terms of winning an award, having not seen the other ones and just watched 3 of them, it's a tough call for me between Inside Out and Wild Robot. I really like Wild Robot.
I having not seen Wallace and Gromit,
Like,
man,
like
Inside Out
Wallace
was
and,
so good. Inside Out was really good.
Wallace and Gromit was fun, but it does feel like it's just Wallace and Gromit.
Yeah.
Like, it's exactly what you think it is. It's not breaking any new records. It's not reinventing the wheel. It's not doing anything particularly different for me. Whereas Wild Robot was beautiful.
Flow
Like,
looks. Have I showed you the trailer for Flow?
I don't think so.
It's really pretty, and it's basically like I think it's like a road trip adventure movie with a cat, but the cat is like a realistic cat,
Interesting.
and it's apparently really good, really good.
Wild Robot is really beautifully animated,
It's
and
a
there's a lot there to
beautiful movie.
like. But Inside Out 2, the way they tackle anxiety and the way they tackle all that,
Yeah.
I also think that's really powerful. So for
Also,
me,
I laughed so hard watching that movie.
yeah, for me that's tough. That's tough for which one I think would win. I feel like Inside Out 2 will probably
I
win
don't know, man.
because it has Pixar behind it, like it has that name
It's
power.
got the mouse, but also like, I mean, DreamWorks.
But Wild Robot, it that feels like, as much as animation can be, that feels like Academy bait.
I mean, yes. Also, I believe it was last year. Was it last year? They won. They won for. Oh my God, Puss in Boots. They won for Puss in Boots. No. I think last year was bad. The Bad Guys. They didn't win for Bad Guys, but they won for Puss in Boots. And this I think is more beautiful than Puss in Boots. That is also why, yeah, Shrek being as like not being questionable as it is disappointing because they've really been nailing it with animated features recently, and that was gorgeous.
I think that's part of why people are so disappointed too, was because Puss in Boots was so good.
Yeah, that's why people were like, just make it look like Puss in Boots, and I'm like, that's what I wanted.
I mean, I would be. I could get behind that. Like, don't get me wrong. I understand why in 2025 you need to change. This is now the 3rd time we're talking about this in one episode, but I understand why you need to update, change, and adapt. I just don't like what they've done.
So with Wallace and Gromit, is the recast noticeable to you?
Not to me, but I'm not familiar. Like, I don't have a strong enough attachment to their original voices.
Fair enough.
To me, he sounded like Wallace.
Yeah, because the original voice of Wallace passed away a few years ago, and yeah, they had to recast him. And from what I could tell, the new guy's pretty good. I think they initially recast him for that VR game, which I've always wanted to play.
I can't speak to that, but what I can say is, yeah, he sounded fine to me.
And they very much
Ben Whitehead
right.
is who plays him in this one.
And this one very much is
this is
still
this is his first full film performance as Wallace following Peter Salas's retirement in 2010 and subsequent death in 2017.
Yep.
Whitehead has voiced Wallace in video games and commercials since 2008. Maybe that's why I didn't really notice.
Maybe. So is that it, Jordan? Is that it for Wallace and Gromit?
I'm just seeing if there's any interesting things in the production or stuff, but it doesn't look like it. It was fun. It was a fun movie. It's one where if you have kids, you could put your kids down in front of it, and I feel like they'd enjoy it.
Fair enough. Okay, so the final movie of the week is okay. I don't know how to talk about this. So when I approached this, I picked movies for two people. I picked a movie for Haley and Wicked, and I picked a movie for Jake because I now having seen this movie, I guess that's where I'll start. Jake, I'm fascinated to hear what you have to say about this movie. But my final movie of the week is a movie called The Apprentice, not to be confused with the reality show bearing the same name. This is the biopic movie about Donald Trump, where Sebastian Stan of Marvel Winter Soldier fame plays Donald Trump, and it is nominated for Best Actor.
Isn't this the one that Donald Trump is not happy about?
This is very famously the one he doesn't like, and I don't blame him. We'll get into why. But this is the way he's nominated for Best Actor, and I said as a joke I want him to win because I want to see Donald Trump's head spin. Now, having said that, I want him to win because he is phenomenal in this movie. And, like, okay. This is a hard movie to recommend because it is very good. It's a very good movie. It is very well done. And Sebastian Stan's performance as Donald Trump is phenomenal. He becomes Donald Trump. He approximates his, like, inflection, like the walk, his mannerisms, the walk. He walks like Donald Trump. You know that weird shuffle Donald Trump does when he walks? He nails that. Like, I guess, like, he, like, there's parts of it, it takes me back to not Donald Trump now, but Donald Trump when I used to watch him on The Apprentice. Like, it's very strange. Like, there's a moment where, like, when I was watching it, and it could be because I'm not necessarily sober when I watched this, but, like, he became Donald Trump for a moment. It's kind of wild. But this movie is very good. And I don't usually do trigger warnings. But there is a particularly gnarly rape scene in this movie where Donald Trump assaults his wife. Now, I will say, as was described to me, it was described as going on for a very long time. And while it does go on for an uncomfortably long amount of time, and it is uncomfortable, and if that sort of thing triggers you, you're going to want to skip this. It's not as bad as I thought it would be, but it is bad. And it's hard to recommend to people who like Trump because there is a really graphic gay sex scene. Well, I described it as, like, moderately graphic, but if you're right-leaning, you would consider it extremely graphic. No, not with Trump. No, there's a graphic sex scene with Trump, which is weird. It's only not weird because it's Sebastian Stan, but if you think about it being Trump, it's weird. So this movie, Jordan, I'm burying the lead on this. This movie is two things. Okay, it's a love story about two men who fall in love and ultimately fall out, and it's a tragic story.
Man,
two men who ultimately
I didn't realize this movie was about Donald Trump and Mike Pence.
No, and it is also a supervillain origin story, because basically it's about how Donald Trump meets his lawyer from the 80s, a man by the name of Roy Cohen. And Roy Cohen, the short version of this is, you know, all of the, like, all I do is win, all that bullshit.
Sure.
I'm a winner. All I do is win. I'm, the bluster or whatever.
Yeah, his bluster. Yeah.
That comes from Roy Cohen. He's the one who taught him all that. So this movie is basically Donald Trump becoming the Donald Trump you know today. He starts off, not that he's a great guy, like he's not a great guy in this movie, but like he's not necessarily a bad guy. Like he's not. This movie tries to make the case that him and his dad weren't racist.
So this movie basically has him going from Jordan Belmont from Wolf of Wall Street to turning into Lex Luthor.
Pretty much, yeah. You pretty much nailed it. Where it's like, yeah, he starts off where like he basically the movie starts where he's gotten in this rich person's club and he runs into Roy Cohen, and he's telling Roy Cohen about how this is the case of him getting sued for evicting the black people, and the movie makes the case or makes it seem like it's not that him and his dad are doing this because they hate racists, or that they're racist, I should say. It's that they're doing this because they just hate poor people, and black people tend to be poor. Like that's kind of what it makes it seem like. And so he eventually he convinces Roy Cohen is this like awful mob boss. Like he's like, oh, there's no such thing as the truth. He basically teaches Trump these 3 rules, which is like, hold on, you never admit defeat, win at all costs, and like never admit defeat even if you've lost, win at all costs.
Basically everything that's wrong with Donald Trump.
Pretty much. Hold on. See if the Wikipedia article has it. So bear with me.
As is this man still around? Because if not, I think he needs to face responsibility for the monster he's created. Frankenstein needs to be dragged out to be punished for creating his monster.
Oh no, it's not gonna. Dang it!
I'm not wrong.
There it is.
I'm not wrong.
Right. So yeah, he Cohen basically teaches Trump, because Trump, and that's for me the most unbelievable part about this movie is early on. Trump starts off as just kind of a regular guy, like he's going door to door, gathering people's rent. Someone tries to throw like a boiling water at him, and he's sleeping on his couch. Like he wakes up, he answers the phone, and he's sleeping on his couch. And I'm just like, I don't really believe that he ever did this, but hey, maybe he did. And so yeah, so he meets Roy Cohen, and Roy Cohen takes him under his wing, and basically teaches him to like always be bigger, always be larger, always like embellish everything. And he teaches him his 3 rules, which is always attack, never admit wrongdoing, and always claim victory even if defeated.
So Frankenstein made his monster.
Pretty much. And so he is that kind of scummy lawyer who, like, at one point they're trying to get this case dismissed, and he goes to the guy in charge of the company, the government branch, whatever, that's suing Trump, and he has pictures of him, gay pictures of him with Cabana Boys, that he's like, if you don't drop this case or find a way to make this case go away, we'll like put these photos in the newspaper,
the press.
And they're in the car afterwards, and Trump is like, that kind of seems like it was illegal. And Cohen's like, yeah, the law doesn't matter so long as you win. He's like, oh, his saying is, we're not a country made of laws, we're a country made of people, and people can be manipulated. And
that's fucked up.
And when you start to see this relationship build in this movie, if you're like, even a fraction of this is true, you start to understand Donald Trump a bit more.
I don't want to understand Donald Trump more.
And so Cohen, eventually helps him create what eventually becomes Trump Tower. He helps him create Trump Tower underneath the nose of the dad, who the dad won't let him. And he creates it, and he slowly becomes more and more monstrous, and is like taking credit for stuff and is lying to stuff, and he's trying to screw it. And like, again, progressively, not even just like in terms of how he acts, but just physically, Sebastian Stan, Donald Trump, becomes more and more the Donald Trump we understand today. And the gay sex thing, Roy Cohen, and the entire time Roy Cohen's saying like all this racist stuff and all this horrible stuff, but the irony is that he's gay. He's a closeted gay man who Donald Trump sees him, finds him in this gay orgy having sex with all these men. and he has this relationship with this young guy, and the young guy gets HIV, gets AIDS, and he asks Donald Trump to put him up at the hotel, and they slowly kind of break apart as like he stops listening to him. He starts going off on his own, and Roy is trying to like corral him in, and he can't. And yeah, there's very much a moment at the end where Roy Cohen ends up with HIV, AIDS, and he confronts Trump on the street and is like I made you, I created you, you owe me. And he's like, no, he turns out that he like evicted Roy's boyfriend or whatever from the hotel. He's like, why did you do that? He's like, you know why I did that. He had AIDS and people were offended by his illness, so I kicked him out. What are you gonna do about it? Like, you knew what this was. And yeah, Roy has that moment of like, holy shit, I created a monster.
This so what's funny in a sad way, I don't know, but have you ever read the book or listened to the audiobook? It's on Audible, about Darth Plagueis the Wise.
You kind of see, yeah, it kind of seems that way. Yeah.
Like it very much feels like a Darth Plagueis who helped create Sidious, and then Sidious immediately screws him over and kills him and turns his back. Obviously, Star Wars version is like more exaggerated, but like as you're describing this to me, that's just immediately what it's making me think of, which is alarming and sad.
Hilariously, it is a movie. To be clear, I'm not talking about real life. I'm describing a movie.
Which is based on real life.
And to be fair, the movie very much starts with a disclaimer that says. There are extreme liberties taken with this.
This
is based on, these are dramatized, these are based on real events. But the movie kind of implies that like Donald Trump is just like a sponge that will just repeat whatever he says, like whatever he hears, like depending on whether or not it benefits him, and like had like a more liberal influence gotten its hooks into him, he might be a better person. Like he's just like malleable. That's what the movie kind of sort of implies.
So there in the multiverse there is a
where he's a good guy. Yeah, absolutely.
There is a version where he is a liberal, he's a good guy, and he is the greatest president that ever lived.
Yeah, because it like the movie kind of implies like initially like he does seem to have a moral objection to like the bad shit that Roy Cohen is doing. And it's Roy Cohen that slowly breaks down those barriers as he puts it. He slowly breaks away his decency, and yeah, it ends with them breaking up on the street when Roy Cohen has AIDS and he's about to die of AIDS, and he's at Donald Trump is at his birthday, and he gives Roy Cohen these diamond cufflinks that he says are real, and then turns out that they're fake. They're fake diamonds, which he's done multiple times. And it ends with Roy Cohen like crying, but like yeah, this movie, and it's one that the movie I said earlier, Amelia Perez does a similar thing of like it gets to the end and it's hard to tell, but it almost feels like the movie wants you to feel sympathetic for Roy and how Donald Trump has like destroyed his life and like ruined him. And it seems like
but he got his comeuppance.
But like he's a horrible person and he did a lot of bad shit. So like Amelia Perez does the same thing where that movie sort of ends where she dies and Zoe Saldana is sad, is like because she starts to develop the movie implies that because she became a woman, she's a better person, but it's like, no, she was a drug dealer. She wrapped a bag around your head when she was a man. Like, she killed a lot of people. No, she's not all of a sudden a good person. Like, just because you later in life, it doesn't, yeah, sure, it helps you, like, become better, but you're not all of a sudden, like, a phenomenal person. It's like, yeah, he dies of AIDS, but, like, that was probably for the betterment of humanity, because he did a lot of bad shit. Like the big long scene where he like confesses to like setting up this like woman to be like executed unnecessarily for America. Like it's weird because you see all of the seeds that, again, if even a fraction of this is like true, like you see how he
The
became,
dominoes.
yeah, how he became the way he was. And yeah, the movie ends with as Cohen basically dies. You see it cuts between that and Donald Trump, like them showing him get liposuction and like having what, in my opinion, is the most upsetting surgery I've ever seen, because I don't understand the point of it, obviously. But Trump basically, he goes to the doctor and he finds out that he's balding and he's getting fat, and like he keeps taking, the whole movie he's taking diet pills, which are basically methamphetamines, and it's causing him to like not be able to perform and become fat, and it's causing him to like not be attracted to the Ivana, and all that sort of stuff. And so he decides to get plastic surgery, and yeah, you see him get the liposuction, and he has a bald spot, and so he gets a scalp. I don't know what they called it, a scalp something, where they like cut off part of his scalp and then tied his hairline together with stitches, and just like he has this like horrible, because it's the 1980s, this horrible staple like up his like, head, and I'm just
I don't like it.
so like, does he in real life have this horrible scar? Like, if I moved his hair, would he just have this horrible scar? I'm like, yeah, it was awful. I'm like, why would you do that? What is the point in this other than to look like you have hair? Like, why?
Yeah, I don't get
But
it.
yeah, no, the movie is very much like
Clearly.
it's like I say, it's both a villain origin story and a love story between Roy Cohen and Donald Trump. A tragic, doomed love story. But
Have
yeah,
you ever heard the story of Darth Plagueis the
Have
Wise?
you ever heard the story of Roy Cohen the lawyer?
he could do law for others, but
yeah,
not himself.
to wrap up, like I said before, all that
So what's
kind
it nominated for?
Best actor for Sebastian Stan, and I want him to win. I'm absolutely rooting for him, and I'm really
What
hoping.
what's he up against?
He is up against, one of them is hold on, let's find out. Oh, one of them is Bob, or what's his face, Timothy Chalamet as Bob Dylan, and
In
sorry,
in what?
in I can't remember what the movie's called, but it's a Bob Dylan biopic.
Okay.
It's Adrian Brody for The Brutalist, Timothy Chalamet for A Complete Unknown, which is the Bob Dylan movie. Coleman Domingo for Sing Sing, Ralph Fiennes for Conclave, and then Sebastian Stan for The Apprentice. And the only one I really think he will probably lose to is Timothy Chalamet, which I'm hoping not. I'm really hoping that this is, as much as I hate when the Academy does this, I'm really hoping that it wins on name alone, and that the Academy won't watch it, and they'll just let it win because it's
Donald Trump.
Yeah, I'm really hoping that happens, because like he's genuinely real. It's like it's uncanny at times. It's really bizarre. Like for me, it was The Walk. He walks like Donald Trump. Like he like the little micro expressions in his face that if you watch Donald Trump speak, you're like, holy shit, that's Donald Trump. And it's worth watching for that. But yeah, it's again,
You're making me want to watch it.
But just major trigger warning for two. It's hard because there is it's over relatively quickly, but there is a gay orgy. You see men having sex. It is kind of uncomfortable if you're uncomfortable with that. And there is a uncomfortable rape scene that goes on for a bit.
That's two major strikes against it.
Yeah, the rest of it is genuinely really good. The dialogue is good. I think it's well directed. I think it should have gotten nominated for more. It's funny, you could tell that nobody wanted to touch this because all of the production and distribution companies on top of it, you've never heard of. I thought that was funny. It was like there were like 6 or 7 like production companies at the start of it, and you've heard of none of these. It was really funny. And again, it's a really graphic rape scene. I fully understand.
Yes, you have now said that 3 times.
Well, I fully understand why Donald Trump sued this movie. I get it. It makes him look like an absolute monster, like it really does.
I understand.
But that's it. That's The Apprentice. Yeah, Jake. I'd be really interested to see what your perspective is on that movie. Yeah, I'm curious as to what you would say about it. If this at all sounds intriguing to you, let me know in the comments. That's it. That's season 3. That's the end of our big Oscar special. We'll see tonight if these guys win anything. I'm gonna be rooting for all of these.
Tootin'.
I have a pretty good suspicion that Planet of the Apes will win special effects. I don't think Wallace and Gromit is winning best
Animation. No, I think that one truly is going to come down to either Inside Out 2 or Wild Robot.
I think Cynthia Erivo has a good chance at best actress. I don't. It's not winning best picture. I don't think it's winning best picture. Maybe Ariana Grande for supporting, although I don't know. She's a little too mainstream for the Academy. So yeah, that'll be interesting to see how many. I don't think it's going to sweep much. I really do agree that Amelia Perez will probably irritatingly sweep the Oscars this year, and that'll be frustrating because that movie sucks major dick. Anyway, that's it for season 3, everyone. Thank you so much for sticking out for 27 episodes of this. Thank you once again to everyone who showed up this season. Jake, Haley, Allie, Anna, Soraya, Allie, Adam. We're hopefully going to bring you guys all back next season to do another episode each. Hopefully all schedules align. Speaking of Soraya, she may or may not be here when we come back. The Spur of the Moment podcast, by the way, you don't have to stick around to the credits, will be back for season 4.
Yes.
We checked with the producers and the network, and they're renewing us for season 4. So we've been renewed. Congratulations, Jordan. We've been renewed. I'm the guy.
Huzzah!
We will return with season 4. On March 22nd, we will be back for season 4. And on March 22nd, we will be returning once again to cap the trilogy. Hopefully, Soraya will be there. We're going to be talking anime again. English, Japanese, whatever, it doesn't matter. I promised them Beastars. I'm gonna watch Beastars. Jordan's gonna talk about it. Jordan's gonna rewatch Boy and the Heron. He's gonna talk about Boy and the Heron. Jordan, make sure you tell Saraj you gotta watch Boy and the Heron.
Okay.
If they can. Yeah, we're gonna be live anime, doing anime. Maybe we'll do some Dragon Ball. Maybe we'll be able to watch some of Daima. Talk about Daima. That'd be kind of fun. That's coming March 22nd. Throw up the date for that. Date card. March 22nd. Anime. Then the following week, once again, we're capping the trilogy. We're bringing back Tokusatsu. We're doing live action Japanese stuff. And I promise you guys I would do Metal Hero. So we're going to do the Metal Hero that Big Bad Beetleborgs is based on. And I will also be watching Big Bad Beetleborgs. I'm going to try to get both seasons, but it's like 54 episodes long. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to get the other series. But I'm going to try to get Big Bad Beetleborgs as well. And VR Trooper. I'm going to watch VR Troopers. And maybe we'll mix in some Ultraman in there as well that I didn't watch last time. And Jordan's assignment this time is to pick something based on aesthetics. He has actually already picked it. Jordan, what is the series you're going to be doing?
Kamen Rider ZO.
Kamen Rider ZO, which is a great choice. That is a good series. You're going to enjoy that. He'll decide week of what his rapid fires are going to be, but theme it around that. Maybe you watch the ZO movie. Hey, you can watch the Forze movie if you want.
We'll see. We'll see what I decide.
We'll see. Try to keep it Tokusatsu related though. But that comes. But the important key with that is it has to be in Japanese. That is the one rule for live action week. It has to be in Japanese. But that's going to be when we get back in 2 weeks. We'll be off for 2 weeks. We'll be back for season 4. And Jordan, real quickly before we wrap up, what are some stuff you want to do for season 4? What are you looking forward to for season 4? I think I want to do pick an actor. I might do that because we talked about Daniel Radcliffe. I think I might want to pick Daniel Radcliffe and let you have Fraser.
I wouldn't mind doing another musical episode because I've been wanting to watch Grease.
Ooh yeah, we'll see if we can get Haley back and we'll do a musical episode.
Because there's there's still so many musicals out there that we haven't touched,
I feel like she
like
has to see. She has to have seen
like
Grease,
like Grease,
and then
which I've been wanting to
we'll
watch.
get. We'll watch. You can watch Grease, and then you also watch Wicked. That way, one of us will have watched Wicked, so we'll have something new to say about Wicked.
That, yeah, I mean, I was going to suggest that, but yeah, that
Um,
works.
yeah, yeah. Haley, we'll get Haley back. We're gonna get Jake back. We keep threatening to do a professional wrestling episode. We're gonna do it. We're gonna do the professional wrestling episode. It's
Yeah.
funny. I cut an episode this week, or a movie. I was gonna watch The Wrestler, and then I was mid setting it up, and I was like, no, I should save that for professional wrestling episode. So we're gonna do professional
Absolutely,
wrestling
you
episode.
should. Why would you not watch one called The Wrestler during wrestling? You got to do it during
Right.
wrestling.
We're gonna get Jake back for that. Yeah, I feel like we could definitely get Allie back for another
Oh, I'm sure we could get her for another book
book
episode.
episode. Adam, we're gonna get him back for more. I think you
We could-
mentioned
We could have her back and do like the Lord of the Rings, because
Yeah.
that's a whole other thing.
yeah, we only touched on the Lord of the Rings. We didn't get fully into the Lord of the Rings. One of us can watch that new show that apparently isn't very good.
The Ring of Power.
Rings of Power. Yeah, we're gonna get Jordan. Jordan already mentioned. We're probably gonna go watch Minecraft. So we'll see if we can align getting Adam back when we do Minecraft.
Maybe
lots-
maybe we can watch Minecraft with Adam.
Yeah, you know what? Maybe we can. We'll be like, hey, can you get away from your wife and child for an afternoon to watch Minecraft with us? We'll see. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. We'll put that. Maybe we'll put that in his ear. Like, how interested are you in watching Minecraft?
I feel like he would be interested in that for us,
Right.
and not necessarily
Not
because of
necessarily
Minecraft.
because of Minecraft. We'll have to text him after this and be like, hey, just an idea.
Put the idea, put the idea in his ear.
Yeah,
you know,
we'll drive out to you, or we can meet somewhere midway. We'll see. We'll see. But yeah,
didn't he? I believe where he said he currently lives. Yeah, there is a very well known theater that we've all been to that is sort of kind of in between.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Well, yeah, we'll have to. Well, yeah, but yeah, we're definitely gonna do. I mean, I don't know how many more we're gonna have to get creative with the video.
With
game
video.
stuff. It's gonna have to be movies that are about
Mhm.
video games, I think, rather than straight adaptations this time.
Yeah,
I'm running out of adaptations.
or we do the pilot episode for his new show, and we have it be about video games.
We could do that. Well, yeah, but yeah, that's coming up season 4 in 2 weeks. We're only taking 2 weeks off, folks. We don't take time off.
And it'll be like one of those famous TV backdoor pilots, you know,
Right,
where
right.
it is technically a spur of the moment episode, but it's a backdoor pilot for no.
I mean, hey, that's not necessarily a bad idea. But yeah, we're gonna get everyone who has been on our show. They're all coming back next season. I hope.
Hopefully.
Hopefully we finally are able to land our semi-famous person though. That's my goal for season 4. I'd like
Hey,
to get a quasi-famous
I'm
person.
working on it, okay? I'm working on
I'd
it.
like to get a quasi-famous internet celebrity in season 4.
Haven't got any responses since Doug Walker, but I've been trying.
We've been trying. And then what else do I want to accomplish in season 4? Yeah, I mean it's gonna be great. It's gonna be more. Oh, I'd like to hit 200 subscribers within the next year. I feel like that's an obtainable goal.
I'd like to hit 150 by the end of the summer.
Yeah, 150 by the end of the summer seems achievable. Oh yeah, that was the other thing. Before we lead into the wrap up, I'm gonna try to have videos go. We may be off. We may go dark for a week. I may try to like intersperse, but we're gonna try to have videos go up while we're out. I may see if I can convince Jordan to hop in on this to record something before we go, and then I might have it go up. Like maybe we'll record a video Friday after work. No, I have Star Trek. We might record something where it's just us doing just the news, and it's like 30 minutes long. That will go up while we're gone.
We'll talk about it off stream.
We'll talk about it off stream. Yeah, I have various ideas because I'd like a video to go up next. The one.
Yeah, I get your idea, but I have other ideas which I will pitch.
Fair enough. But in the meantime, while we're gone, yeah, we're gonna have videos go up. I might like say right now I've had a video go up every day. 5 days a week. I might intersperse them. So that might be every couple days. But check out all of our videos that go up. I'm gonna try to get an Oscars one out tonight. The Wicked and Donald Trump one. I might try to get out tonight in time for the Oscars. But otherwise, yeah, check it back on the page every single day for videos. New videos, short videos. Shorts go up every day. Like all of those. I never do enough of the stupid internet engagement stuff. Like all of those. Like seriously, leaving likes helps. Like even if I like my own stuff, but anytime you leave a like, that is helpful. That pushes me in the algorithm. Obviously, watching it does, but if you don't have time to watch it, even if you just leave a like, that tells YouTube that people want to watch it, and it shows it to other people. So liking the videos helps more than you can possibly imagine. Jordan, while we're gone, you will be missing one Minecraft Monday, but where can the people find you?
They can find me on my Discord, not Discord, Twitch, Zethgore187. I will be missing the one Monday, but I might do an additional one this week to make up for that.
Fair. I'm a similar way with Star Trek. I was like, oh, I'm gonna be away. I should do two.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see because I mean, I'm gonna have a little bit more time this week to do additional things.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, Zethgore187, and then the only other place you can really find me is here.
Mostly every week, every Saturday or Sunday. Probably we're gonna go back to Sundays for the foreseeable future. I don't know. Right now we're gonna stick to Sundays because I like Sundays. Way more time to do stuff when it's on Sundays. Anyway, you can. I forgot to mention earlier in our sponsorship section. You can sponsor the show. You can chuck in $1, $2 every month. For pennies a day, you can help us make this show better if you would like. Patreon is in the description. You can click that. I am on TikTok, Justin Spurr. You can find me on TikTok. You can find the show on TikTok, Spur of the Moment P. All of our shorts also go on TikTok if you prefer our videos there. You can email the show if you want to sponsor the show in any meaningful capacity. Even if you want us to talk about your thing on here, we will talk about just about anything. You can email the show at itsjustinsbusiness@gmail.com. You can join us over on Discord. I have permanently fixed the link so it always works. So you can go join us on there where you can leave us all kinds of helpful suggestions. As previously mentioned, we will be doing a pick an actor involving Brendan Fraser in season 4, as recommended by Allie, friend of the show. That's a great place to leave us recommendations. Jordan, am I missing anything?
I don't. You did the Discord. You did the Patreon.
Leave us comments. Leave us comments so we can read your comments on the show. Don't be mean. That's all I ask. Don't be a dick. But yeah, I think that's it. I think that's it for season 3.
Don't be a dick, or we might have to respond in kind.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Jordan, as always, for being here with me. We'll see you all in 2 weeks, everybody.